My child, stop what you're doing. This isn't just another message. This is a divine interruption. I've waited for the perfect moment to speak this into your soul, and this is that moment. What you're about to hear is not optional, it's surgical. I'm coming for the things you thought you couldn't live without. The pieces you've clung to long past their expiration. Because when I say prepare to say farewell, I'm not talking about distance. I'm talking about deliverance. You must listen to every word, every breath, every pause. Watch this to the end, because if you exit early, you'll miss what was meant to set you free. I'm not just visiting you. I'm transitioning you. And when I finish speaking, nothing in your life will look the same. Stay close. I'm uncovering things you didn't even know you had to release. And before this ends, you will. My beloved, pause and be still in this sacred space. I am here, closer than breath, present with the full weight of heaven's affection, and I am bringing you a word I've cradled carefully in the quiet corners of eternity. You've wondered why the air around you has shifted, why familiar things no longer feel comforting, why your soul wrestles even in places that once felt safe. It's not confusion. It's not failure. It's me. It's my spirit stirring within you, calling you gently but firmly into a divine crossing. Because what I'm asking of you now is not small. It's holy. It's not abandonment. It's advancement. And yes, child, it begins with a farewell. But listen closely, because I need you to hear this not through the lens of pain, but through the lens of promise. I am not asking you to say goodbye to hope. I am not removing joy. I am not retreating from you. I am pulling you deeper into me. What I am calling you to release are not the treasures I've ordained, but the attachments I never authored. There are things you've held on to, people, expectations, patterns, timelines, that once served you in the wilderness but cannot survive the weight of where I'm taking you next. They are not evil. They are not cursed. But they've expired. Their assignment in your story is complete, and every moment you continue to hold them close becomes a barrier to the breath of what I am now breathing into your future. You felt it already, haven't you? The subtle ache when you revisit those memories. The resistance when you try to recreate what once brought ease. The weariness that grows louder when you try to sustain what I've already started dismantling. These are not punishments, child. These are signals. They are divine indicators that the oil has run dry in those places, and it is time to pour yourself into the next vessel I've prepared. You've prayed for clarity, and I've come to answer. You've asked for direction, and I've come to give it, but it will come wrapped in separation, in release, in sacred farewell. Trust me. Trust that I know the end from the beginning. Trust that the letting go I ask of you is not loss. It is making room for the life I've been longing to give you. Because hear me, I do not waste words and I do not waste moments like this. I speak now because your heart is finally still enough to hear, soft enough to surrender. You've endured the pressure, you've felt the stripping, and still, you chose me. That's why I can speak this now. I need you to see this farewell not as the end of something beautiful, but as the beginning of something eternal. What lies ahead is too weighty for compromise. The season you are walking into is one of glory, but it demands release. And I will not force your hands open. I'm asking, will you trust me with this goodbye? So take a breath, beloved. Let your spirit receive this. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. This farewell is not a rejection. It is a resurrection. You are not walking away from love. You are walking deeper into it. And I, the one who has never left your side, the one who knows every scar, every tear, every silent ache, I am here to walk with you, hand in hand, into the terrain of what's next. You will not be alone in the letting go. I will be your comfort in the goodbye and your strength in the crossing. So open your hands now. Loosen your grip. Prepare your heart. Because what no longer belongs is falling away, and what I've destined for you is rising. My beloved, you stood at the threshold with trembling hope, your hands outstretched like a child asking to be let back in. You prayed. You pleaded. You pounded the door of yesterday with tears that could have drowned the silence. And yet it never reopened. I know how much it confused you. I know how much it wounded your soul. The unanswered prayers, the opportunities that never returned, the connections that went quiet when you needed them loudest. But child, look at me now. That door did not close because I forgot you. It closed because I love you too deeply to let you stay in a room too small for your calling. Yes, I saw you stand before that door with dreams in your heart and bruises on your knees. And I wept with you. I was not absent in your disappointment. I was present, fully, fiercely, faithfully, holding back what you thought was a blessing because I knew the brokenness it carried behind its welcome mat. You saw safety. I saw sabotage. You saw familiarity. I saw a future forfeited. I didn't close the door in anger. I sealed it in mercy. I bolted it with grace. And I stood between you and that past with my own body to ensure you would not walk back into what I had already declared complete. You begged for me to reverse what I was redeeming. But I needed to tear you from the grip of that season so I could prepare you for the space your anointing truly requires. What you didn't realize was that every no was a net catching your soul before it fell into counterfeit comfort. Every unanswered plea was me protecting the oil on your life from contamination. You remember the sleepless nights that followed those closed doors. That wasn't just sorrow. That was surgery. I was cutting you away from what couldn't survive your next dimension. The weight of your calling would have crushed the foundation of that former room. So I didn't just remove the key, I demolished the hinges. I burned the blueprint of that chapter because you were never meant to revisit it. Only remember what it taught you. This was not abandonment. This was divine abandonment of what was misaligned. Let me speak it clearly. The door wasn't locked to punish you. It was sealed to preserve you. I heard your cries, but I answered with wisdom. And now, I need you to stop blaming yourself for a door I closed on purpose. It wasn't your failure. It was my foresight. The reason that door doesn't respond to your knocking anymore is because its season is buried, and I don't resurrect what I've already redeemed. Look forward now. There are new thresholds before you, ones not guarded by grief, but opened by glory. You are not too late. You are not forgotten. You are finally free. So dry your eyes, beloved. That door didn't define you. It delivered you. Come closer now. Let me gather the ache from your chest, the ache that rises uninvited when your mind wanders to what once was. I've watched you weep, not just with tears in your eyes, but with heaviness in your spirit that made joy feel like a stranger. I saw you clutch memories like lifelines, hoping to breathe life into something I had already called finished. And that's not because you were disobedient. It's because you were still healing, still human, still hoping. And I have compassion for that. But child, I need you to hear me. What you're mourning, I removed not to break you, but to bless you. The separation wasn't sabotage. It was sacred. It was a rescue wrapped in pain. Yes, it felt like tearing. Yes, it felt like loss. But if you could see what I saw behind the veil, if you knew what was clinging to your destiny like a parasite, you'd thank me for every departure. I wasn't being cruel. I was being careful. I wasn't punishing your faith. I was protecting your future. Some things I removed from your life because their presence would have poisoned your purpose. I'm not asking you to rejoice in the pain, but to recognize the pattern. Every pruning has produced strength. Every separation has summoned surrender. You didn't lose, you were loosed. Release from attachments that were choking your spiritual lungs. And yes, I allowed the ache. Because through that ache, I taught you to breathe without depending on people who were never meant to be your oxygen. You wanted them to stay. But I needed you to learn that absence doesn't mean abandonment. Sometimes it means alignment. I allowed the silence so you would seek my voice again, not theirs. I allowed the departure so you would discover I was your anchor all along. What you saw as betrayal was a blessing in disguise. What you called heartbreak, I called a holy hand of. I was shifting you away from what was seasonal and into what was sovereign. Not everyone can walk with you into this next stretch of glory. Not everyone deserves front row access to the unveiling I'm about to perform in your life. So, yes, I removed. But I also reestablished. I redefined. I restored. You don't have to understand every goodbye to honor it. You just need to trust that when I remove something, it's always to replace it with something that carries my fingerprints. Beloved, the tears you've sown in sorrow are watering the soil for sudden joy. You didn't see mercy in the moment, but you will see miracles in the aftermath. I do not waste pain. I do not leave gaping wounds without divine healing. The same hand that removed is now rebuilding. And this new construction won't include the cracks you once covered. I'm doing something better, deeper, eternal. So it's time to shift your posture. Not just your prayers, but your perception. Stop mourning what I've moved. Stop resisting the relief I'm trying to bring. The separation was your salvation, and the mourning is about to give way to dancing. My beloved child, come closer still. Let your spirit lean in. Because what I'm whispering to you now isn't a suggestion, it's sacred clearance. You have carried confusion like a cloak, wrapped tightly around your decisions, questioning every step, second-guessing every departure. But hear me clearly. I am lifting the veil now, not just from your eyes, but from your heart. And as I lift it, I am giving you what many long for but few recognize: divine permission. Yes, and child, permission to let go without guilt, permission to say goodbye without shame, permission to release what I never asked you to carry into this next chapter of your calling. You've mourned the memory of what was. You've tried to make sense of the severing. You stood in the middle of emotional wreckage, asking if maybe, just maybe, you made a mistake. But I tell you now, not in riddles, not in parables, but in piercing truth, you did not fail by walking away. You followed the whisper of wisdom. What you walked away from wasn't alignment, it was assignment completed. It was the end of a sentence that needed no additional punctuation. There are moments when the exit is not rebellion, it is revelation. And what I've revealed to you in this hour is that your yes to me sometimes requires a no to what once felt safe. You were not disobedient, child. You were discerning. You didn't betray what I built. You preserved what I'm birthing. This is not abandonment. This is advancement. This is not the loss of connection. It's the gain of clarity. You were never meant to drag the weight of unfinished conversations, unread responses, or unexplained exits. That weight will wear down the wings I've given you. Let me say it again with eternal emphasis. You are released. Released from guilt. Released from the myth that your love could have changed what only my timing could resolve. Released from the illusion that peace can be purchased by staying in places I've already exited. I'm not asking you to ignore the pain. I'm commanding you to recognize the mercy. The veil was there to keep you blind until your heart could handle the truth. But now that it's lifted, what once looked like tragedy is shining with truth. So I invite you, step out from under the fog. Step into the field of freedom. Let the farewell rise from your spirit like a song of surrender, not a scream of suffering. Let go, not with clenched fists but with open hands, because what you release with trust, I redeem with tenderness. The confusion is clearing. The clarity is coming not in thunder, but in truth. You are not a failure. You are not forgotten. You are free. And this freedom is not conditional. It is covenantal. I'm bought it for you in blood. I sealed it with scars. So walk forward, beloved, not with questions but with courage. The veil is lifted. The way is made. Let go now, not later. Now, beloved, the lie the enemy sold you was this, that leaving what you loved meant forfeiting what I promised. That if you walked away, you were somehow undoing destiny. But child, that was never my word. That was the whisper of fear dressed in false humility. Let me shatter that illusion once and for all. You are not walking away from promise. You are walking directly toward it. The path to fulfillment does not always look like a parade. Sometimes it looks like parting. Sometimes it looks like releasing people and places you were once sure would be part of forever. But I, the author and finisher, never build on faulty foundations. And so I've called you to step. Step away from what you thought was the promise, and into what actually is. Farewell is not retreat. Farewell is re-entry, a divine recalibration, a course correction rooted in glory. You didn't miss your moment when you let go. You made room for it. You unclenched your fists from the fragments so I could place in them the fullness. And this first step, this farewell, it is not a detour. It is the divine starting point of acceleration. Look again at Abraham, at Moses, at Ruth, at Paul. All of them had to say goodbye before they could say yes to my next move. I never transition a destiny without first triggering a departure. It's the pattern of my presence. Leave to receive, separate to elevate, release to increase. You are not stepping back. You are stepping beyond. And hear this, child, what you're walking toward is not delayed. It's been waiting. It's been circling the atmosphere of your timeline like a plane looking for clear runway. And now, finally, the path is clear because you let go of what crowded the gate. You are not behind. You are being aligned. The promises I made to you are not fragile, not fickle, not forgotten. They are sealed in the ink of eternity. But I needed your feet to move before your eyes could see. The first step was never into provision. It was into obedience. And now that you've taken it, now that your mouth has whispered the word farewell through trembling lips, the heavens are echoing with a sound only angels recognize. The sound of destiny's door unlocking. To go, beloved. You're not as one escaping something painful, but as one pursuing something promised. You are not running away. You are running forward. Let every step carry the sound of surrender. Let every mile be marked by faith. Let every tear that falls be turned into rivers of refreshing. You didn't fail by leaving. You obeyed by moving. And this movement, this shift, will start a chain reaction of supernatural release. What you could not find in yesterday's comfort will chase you down in tomorrow's clarity. You will see it. You will walk in it. But first, farewell. Let it rise like incense. Let it break like morning light. Let it carry the weight of holy goodbye and the wind of coming glory. This is not the end. It is the entryway. And I'm waiting for you just beyond it. Child, lean in. There's something I must say, something weighty, something holy, something that may rattle your comfort, but restore your culling. The version of you that survived the storm, that patched your soul with pieces of pain, that stitched your identity from seasons of rejection and loneliness. That version of you was strong, yes, but it was never meant to be permanent. You see, I gave you grace for the wilderness, strength for the silence, fire for the fight. But what I'm bringing into your life now requires a different garment, one not woven in brokenness, but tailored in boldness. And to wear what I'm about to place on your shoulders, you must first lay down the identity that was born in survival. There is a difference between who you had to become to endure and who I created you to be to reign. The first was necessary. The second is divine. You see, the person who endured betrayal, abandonment, scarcity, that person was courageous. But they carried weights that don't belong in the promised place. You learn to expect delay as normal. You learn to measure your worth by your wounds. You learn to trust only what was predictable, even if it was painful. But I am tearing down those altars now, because I never called you to be defined by broken seasons. I called you to be refined by them. You weren't meant to build your home in hardship, just to pass through it. And now, what I'm placing in your hands requires a healed grip. It demands a heart that no longer assumes disappointment is the destination. You've become so accustomed to adjusting to pain that joy feels suspicious. But child, hear me. I am delivering you from that default. I am reintroducing you to a version of yourself that never bowed to shame. The version that existed in my imagination before trauma taught you how to shrink. This next season requires authority, not apology. It requires presence, not performance. The blessing I'm about to release has a weight of glory on it, and fractured foundations cannot sustain what is forged in heaven. I am not placing crowns on bowed heads. I am lifting your head, child. I am healing your spine from the curvature of fear, because what's coming next needs your full frame restored. Your confidence is not arrogance, it's alignment. So breathe deeply. This is not condemnation. This is a call to transformation. I'm not rejecting who you were. I'm graduating you from who you had to be. That survivor in you was necessary. But now I am calling forth the ruler, the restorer, the vessel of vision. No more shrinking to fit places I freed you from. No more blending in when I marked you to break the mold. Farewell to the identity of the injured. Hello to the anointing of the unstoppable. I'm clothing you in strength, not scar tissue. I'm redefining you with my voice, not their silence. And what's coming will not crush you, it will crown you. But you must release the version of you that was only built to endure. Let me build you now to expand. My child, I know your heart. I know the love that spills from you like a river refusing to dry. I've watched you try, again and again, to bring them with you. Those you love, those you've labored for, those you cried over in secret. You waited. You begged. You watered the roots of relationships that bore no fruit, believing maybe just one more prayer would turn it all around. You explained yourself to those who were never assigned to understand. You lowered your voice hoping they'd lean in with grace. You shared your heart hoping they'd finally see its sincerity. But child, some things are not meant to be explained. They are meant to be surrendered. You were not called to carry the weight of everyone's comprehension. I didn't anoint you to convince the crowds. I appointed you to follow my cloud, whether others come or not. The path I have carved for you is narrow, and not all feet can fit upon it. Some of the hands you've tried to hold are attached to hearts that were never postured to follow. They love you, but they cannot lead with you, and they cannot follow where I'm taking you. I know that hurts. I know that kind of loss is loud in your soul. But not every departure is disaster. Some are deliverance. Because if you carry what I've asked you to release, you'll delay what I've positioned to accelerate. Hear me now with trembling ears and softened heart. This is the hour of holy separation. There are people, patterns, partnerships that were present for preparation but cannot remain for manifestation. You are not being cruel by letting go. You are being obedient. You are not heartless. You are becoming wholehearted. And the peace that will flood your spirit once you surrender what you cannot carry, that peace will shout louder than any apology you could offer. I've seen your loyalty. I've honored your intentions. But now I require your alignment. If you keep tethering yourself to what I've untied, you will find yourself stuck at a gate that no longer opens. Let them go, not in bitterness but in blessing. Release them without resentment. Say farewell with reverence. This next dimension of glory requires room. Room for expansion. Room for clarity. Room for the unexplainable. And as long as you're holding on to what I've removed, your hands cannot receive what I've reserved. Child, let go. You do not need to explain it again. You do not need their validation to move forward. I saw the inner war. I heard the unspoken wrestle. But now the trumpet has sounded. The call has come, and your assignment is activating. Don't drag what was seasonal into what I've made eternal. Surrender what cannot come with you, not because you stopped loving them, but because you started loving me more. The way is narrow. The weight is holy, and the door is open. Walk a child. Walk with clear hand, clear eyes, and a clear call. Child, let me tell you something now that I couldn't say before, not because I didn't want to, but because your heart wasn't ready to hear it. Some people were meant to walk with you through the storm, but they were never assigned to stand with you in the sunshine. They were companions for the wilderness, not co-builders in the promise. And I know that feels cruel to say. I know your heart wants to hold on to everyone who helped you survive the dry places. But not every companion is a covenant. Not every relationship is meant for the next revelation. And this moment, this holy pivot, is about who remains when the dust clears and the glory falls. You see, wilderness people serve a purpose. They help you learn how to lean, how to kneel, how to hear me in the middle of drought. But their assignment is rooted in survival, not expansion. They knew how to walk with you when manna fell from heaven and miracles came in midnight moments. But they won't know what to do when the ground shifts beneath you and I start pouring out what's been stored. They are not bad. They are not evil. They are simply unequipped. Because the wilderness demands patience, but the promise demands partnership. And I am calling you into a season where the people around you must not only be present but prophetic. Aligned, assigned, anointed for the next dimension. You have tried to drag them with you. You pleaded, explained, defended. You delayed obedience because you didn't want to hurt the ones who once helped. But child, this is not about cruelty, it's about clarity. If you bring wilderness connections into the land of fulfillment, they'll misunderstand the overflow. They'll see my abundance and call it arrogance. They'll see the open doors and assume you manipulated something. They'll see the divine spotlight and claim you'd changed. And you did. But not in rebellion, in refinement. You didn't outgrow them in pride. You outgrew the season that forged your bond. And now I am calling you to walk forward not with apologies, but with awareness. This isn't rejection. It's redirection. There are people waiting in the promised place who carry keys your old companions were never given. Don't let loyalty to the wilderness cost you legacy in the promise. Say farewell not with anger but with honor. Bless them. Release them. and move forward. Because you are not being cruel, you are being called. The wilderness was your proving ground, but now the land flowing with milk and honey is opening before you. And the people I've prepared for you in that place, they won't question your anointing. They'll confirm it. They won't compete with your blessing. They'll protect it. So let go. Trust me, and walk into what's next with a clear heart and clean hands. Some connections were never meant to cross the Jordan with you. They were for the desert. And this, beloved, is your exodus. Let me speak this gently, but with unmistakable power. Not every battle was meant to last. Some wars were never designed to be lifelong assignments. They were moments of molding, not markers of identity. Child, you've confused the fight with the future. You've mistaken endurance for destination. But some of the battles I allowed were not meant to define your calling. They were only there to refine your character. I let you feel the fire, not to burn you, but to build you. I let you face giants, not to crush your hope, but to carve out your courage. And now that the structure of your soul is strong, it's time to lay the sword down and walk into the peace I prepared. You've been standing guard at battlegrounds I already cleared. You've stayed in war zones out of habit, not instruction. You fought well. You prayed fiercely. You interceded when no one saw you. But the war is over. The dust has settled. The spoils are yours, but you've been pacing the territory, thinking the fight must start again. Hear me, beloved. This isn't a cycle. This is closure. You don't need to keep watching your back. You don't need to live in defensive mode. The tension you've been carrying, the one in your chest, in your mind, in your very bones, it's not holy. It's residue. Residue from a battle I already brought you through. And it's time to let your body, your heart, your spirit step into rest. Some battles were meant to give you spiritual muscle, yes, but they were also meant to end. Don't build altars around exhaustion. Don't confuse constant warfare with faithfulness. The tension may have trained you, but it cannot sustain you. You've learned what you needed to learn. You've stood your ground. And now, I am not calling you to fight again. I'm calling you to farewell the battlefield. The armor you once needed, I am now replacing with oil. The grit that got you through is being exchanged for grace. Because what's ahead of you does not require clenched fists, it requires open hands. I'm not asking for your strength now. I'm asking for your stillness. You're not a soldier in this next season. You're a steward. So take a breath, child, and clench your jaw. Let the warfare end. Say goodbye to the version of you that was always on guard, always in survival mode, always anticipating the next hit. That's not your portion anymore. You didn't miss the mark. You didn't fail the test. You passed it. And now the lesson is over. The battle taught you resilience. Now I'm teaching you rest. Let go of the sword. Pick up the scroll. Because this part of your story is no longer being written in blood. It's being inked in glory. The battlefield was for your backbone, but the future I prepared is for your becoming. Let go. The war is over. Peace has come. Say farewell and walk into freedom. Beloved, there's no need to hide it. I saw your heart break. I was there when your eyes searched for them in the room and found only echoes. I watched the hope in your voice tremble when their silence grew louder than your prayers. And child, I know how much you loved them. I know how deeply you believed in who they could become, in what the connection could be, in how it all might turn around if you just held on a little longer. But what you called abandonment, I call alignment. What felt like rejection was actually a redirection, not just of your path, but of your protection. You cried over what left, but what left was not carrying your future. What exited wasn't empty, it was expired. And I removed them, not to strip you but to shield you. You were clinging to someone who would have compromised the calling. You saw their potential, but I saw their patterns. You measured them by what they showed you, but I measured them by what they hid. I know that sounds heavy. I know you want to believe the best, and I honor your compassion. But I am not just the God of mercy, I am also the God of justice. And justice sometimes looks like separation, because what they carried was not safe to place beside what I've placed inside you. They couldn't go where you're going because their loyalty was seasonal, not covenantal. Their presence began to contaminate what I was consecrating. You wanted to preserve them. I needed to protect you. You cried because they walked away. But I intervened because they would have walked you into compromise. I shut the door not because I was angry, but because I was anchoring you to something eternal. You begged me to bring them back. But child, if I did, they would have brought confusion, not clarity. They would have disguised delay as destiny. And you would have stayed stuck in the same cycle, praying for peace in the middle of sabotage. So let me say it clearly, their exit was your exodus. Their departure was the detour you never saw coming, the one that routed you into divine positioning. Don't curse what I used to cover you. Don't idolize the connection I had to crush for your protection. You loved them, yes. You believed in them, yes. But I needed you to believe in me more. This goodbye was a grace. This loss was laced with salvation. I know it hurts, but I'm here, and I will fill the space they left with something sacred, something stable, something sent by me. Not every empty place is a punishment. Some are holy placeholders. Let me fill what they could never carry. Child, your mind has become a movie theater of memory. Over and over again, you replay the same scenes, the conversations you wish you'd handled differently, the words you wish you could take back, the silence that followed where closure should have been. I see how you rehearse the moments like lines from a forgotten script, hoping that maybe, just maybe, if you could understand it better, you could change the ending. But beloved, I didn't call you to be the editor of the past. I called you to be the carrier of the future. And right now, I'm not asking you to rewrite the old chapter. I'm asking you to release it. Because what you're clinging to isn't clarity, it's control disguised as comfort. You think that by replaying it, you'll protect yourself from repeating it. But what you're really doing is imprisoning yourself inside a scene I've already ended. You can't heal by rehearsing. You can't move forward while your spirit is anchored to what if. I'm not there anymore, child. I'm not in the could have beens. I'm not in the should have saids. I'm here, right now, in this sacred moment where the pen is still in my hand, writing something new, something bold, something holy, something that doesn't need your editing. It just needs your surrender. You don't need to revise what was. You need to release what never was yours to keep. That story, as painful, as precious, as perplexing as it may have been, served its purpose. It built a strength in you that you couldn't have accessed any other way. But it's not your dwelling place. It's a monument, not a map. Stop living in the rearview mirror, beloved. You can't step into destiny while dragging a projector from your past. You don't need a new version of the same old story. You need a new vision. And vision doesn't come from backward glances. It comes from upward surrender. So breathe and let it go. The conversation that never ended. The apology that never came. the explanation that never arrived, the closure that never closed the ache. Let it go. I am not asking you to forget. I'm asking you to forgive yourself for expecting the past to redeem itself. Only I redeem, and I have already done so. Stop replaying moments looking for meaning. Start releasing them into my hands. What I'm writing now doesn't need revision. It needs your yes. Your full, trembling, beautiful yes. And I promise you, what I'm authoring next will not echo the pain of the past. It will overflow with the peace you've been praying for. But first, let go of the pen. I've got this story, and it's better than anything you could ever revise. My child, I know the weight you carry every time you choose to release something. To others, it may look like strength, but I know how heavy it truly feels. I know how your heart trembles behind your quiet obedience, how your thoughts race, asking if maybe, just maybe, letting go means you've given up. But let me whisper truth into the ache. Letting go doesn't mean failure. It means faith in motion. It means you're choosing to trust what you cannot yet see. It means you're loosening your grip on what you thought would last in order to take hold of what only I can give. You were never created to cling to every chapter. Some pages must be turned so the story can continue. Some scenes must fade to make room for the revelation that follows. You've equated release with regret. But I am rewriting the definition. In my kingdom, release is not weakness, it's worship. It's the kind of obedience that shakes the heavens. It's the kind of trust that gets written into eternity's record as faith that moves mountains. When you let go of what no longer carries my breath, you're not losing, you're aligning. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. You've believed the lie that holding on proves commitment, but sometimes it only proves fear. The fear of change, fear of loss, fear of being wrong. But child, I see the wrestling inside you. I see the sacred hesitation in your spirit, the love that doesn't want to abandon, the loyalty that longs to stay true. And I honor that. I treasure your heart. But now, I'm inviting you to trust me more than your own understanding. Letting go of what you cannot control is not quitting, it's qualifying. It's qualifying you for a level of glory that can only be accessed by those who place faith above familiarity. Yes, this goodbye is painful. Yes, this release feels like death. But resurrection is coming. So let go, not in defeat, but in devotion. Let go with holy courage. Let go with trembling hands lifted in worship. Because with every surrender, I'm building something sacred. Faith is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers goodbye and walks away. Sometimes it chooses silence over striving. Sometimes it simply says, God, I trust you with this. And child, I receive that whisper like a roar. I receive your faith in motion. And I will honor it with miracles that move mountains and shift timelines. What you release in obedience, I will multiply in glory. Don't be afraid. Letting go is not the end of your faith, it is the evidence of it. Now that you've released what no longer serves you, I ask you to take one more step, not away from something, but into something eternal. I've called you to be a sower in this season, to plant seed into the very ground where my word is being poured out like living water. Every gift you give here carries more than money. It carries light. It carries oil. It carries life. When you pour into this message, you're helping me reach the one still clinging to despair, the one who hasn't yet heard that it's time to say farewell and follow me. Did I not say, he who refreshes others will himself be refreshed? Proverbs 11:25. So I invite you now, not out of pressure but out of purpose. Let this be your divine appointment to sow. I will multiply it. I will shield your house. I will remember your name in the day of blessing. Act now, through super thanks, membership, or by giving through the link I placed in the description. Give where the fire is flowing. Beloved, I know how you've heard the word farewell. I know how it's echoed through your memories like a funeral bell, heavy, final, filled with loss. But I'm changing the sound in your spirit. Because in my kingdom, farewell is not the sound of defeat. It's the sound of alignment. It's the signal that what's leaving no longer belongs. It's the shofar of the Spirit declaring, the old has passed, the new has come. When I say farewell, I don't mean you're losing something precious. I mean I'm positioning you for something priceless. Every time you say goodbye in obedience, the sound reverberates through the heavens. It tells every principality that your allegiance is no longer with what was, but with who is. It announces to the gates of hell that you are not bound by the past, by approval, by history, by pain. You are bound to me, to my timing, to my plans, to my voice. And alignment is what causes your life to sing in harmony with heaven. I do not bless where you are merely tolerated. I pour out favor where your feet have followed me in faith. And that kind of alignment, the kind that makes demons tremble and angels move, it often begins with a simple, surrendered farewell. Think of it like this. The tuning of a great instrument requires the tensioning of every string. The sound doesn't come from comfort, it comes from calibration. That is what I'm doing now. I'm tuning you. Every goodbye is a key turning in the lock of your alignment. Every letting go is a tuning fork echoing with purpose. It doesn't feel like music yet, but oh, child, it will. When the pieces align, when the dissonance clears, you'll hear it. The divine melody that only plays when your life is in tune with mine. That sound, that's not defeat. That's destiny singing its name. So let it go. Say the farewell. Not in sorrow, but in sacred reverence. This is not you being forsaken. This is you being fine-tuned. This is the moment where your voice begins to resonate with my will. And once alignment comes, the acceleration follows. I am not robbing you. I'm realigning you. And every no I've spoken, every door I've closed, every person I've removed, it's all been part of the tuning. You are not off anymore. You are in harmony. So when you hear farewell, hear the music, hear the movement, hear the mercy. This isn't a funeral march. This is the prelude to your promise song. My child, I feel the weight of your ache, not from a distance but from the deep center of who I am. I have not ignored your sorrow. I have not turned my face from your tears. I have been near, closer than breath, cradling every sob you've whispered into the dark. And now, with tenderness and truth, I speak this over you. The pain you feel is not punishment, it is preparation. You haven't been forgotten, you've been forged. You haven't been disqualified, you've been divinely undone. Unraveled, yes, but only so I could make space for what had been waiting all along in the chambers of my goodness. You see, child, I don't wound, I refine. I don't crush for cruelty's sake. I dismantle what no longer serves you, what can no longer hold the weight of glory I've preserved for you. The heartbreaks, the partings, the loneliness that echoes through certain rooms in your life. They were not signs of my absence. They were signals of my movement. Because the places that feel empty are not void, they are vessels. And I have been preparing them, clearing them, sanctifying them to receive something weighty, something pure, something eternal. If I had left the clutter, the residue, the remnants of old alignments, you would have missed what's next. Let me say this plainly. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The unraveling you've endured is not random. It's righteous. It's heaven tearing through the fabric of your familiar, making room for a glory that doesn't fit inside your comfort zone. You've prayed for me to fill you. But child, I must first empty you of what's false, what's fleeting, what's fragile. There is no punishment in my presence. There is only purification. And this fire you felt, this ache in the in-between, it's not your end. It's the labor pain of your becoming. I am expanding you, stretching you, awakening you. And yes, it hurts. But pain has never been your enemy. It has always been the midwife of transformation. So don't curse this pain. Don't interpret this season through the lens of shame. This isn't divine wrath. This is divine preparation. I am not angry with you. I am answering you, answering prayers you forgot you prayed, answering cries you buried beneath logic. You wanted me to take you higher, but you didn't know how much had to be undone first. And I, in my mercy, am peeling away every false identity, every dead weight, every toxic tie. I'm making room for the preserved promise. And when you see what I'm about to place in your life, when you taste the goodness that's been kept in reserve, you will understand why this pain had to come first. It wasn't to break you. It was to bless you. Come closer, child. Sit still for a moment beneath the weight of my voice. You've been afraid lately, afraid that in letting go, in stepping into the unknown, you're somehow losing parts of yourself. You've looked in the mirror and seen a blur where your old self used to stand. But let me bring clarity to your confusion. You are not losing your identity. You're shedding what was never truly you to begin with. You're not being erased. You're being revealed. You're not becoming less. You're becoming real. You've carried layers, thick, heavy, protective layers, that were never meant to stay. Layers of shame you mistook for humility. Layers of trauma you called toughness. Layers of people's expectations that you wore like truth. And in this hour, I am peeling it all back, not to expose you to shame, but to expose you to me. To who you really are beneath the survival, beneath the performing, beneath the defending. You were never your brokenness. You were never their opinion. You were never the version of yourself you built to be accepted. You were always mine, always chosen, always marked for more. And now, I am calling forth the true you, the radiant one, the fearless one, the healed one. But that emergence can't happen unless the false versions fall away. It's what you're feeling, that trembling inside your soul. That's not identity loss. It's identity alignment. It's the sound of heaven whispering to the real you, come forth. You're shedding the skin of a former season. You're walking out of the tomb of who you had to be in order to survive. And like Lazarus, I'm calling you out, unbinding you from grave clothes you didn't even know you were still wearing. So do not fear this unraveling. Do not fight this shedding. I'm not destroying you. I'm disrobing the illusion. I'm revealing what I saw before time began, the one I dreamed about, the one I bled for, the one I've always loved. Every old identity that's breaking is making room for a truth so sacred, so stunning, you'll barely recognize yourself. Not because you're changing into someone else, but because you're finally meeting the version of you that was always hidden in me. This is not identity theft. This is identity return. Receive it, child. Welcome it. Your truest self is emerging, and I will walk with you every step of the way. Oh, child, let's clear the fog from your spirit right now. You've looked around lately and seen people leaving, seasons shifting, connections dissolving, and the lie crept in like a shadow. I'm being left behind. I heard that whisper deep in your chest, the fear that maybe you missed something, Maybe you lagged when you should have leapt. Maybe others went ahead and you were forgotten in the shuffle of purpose. But hear me now, clearly, fiercely, lovingly. You are not being left behind. I was pulling you ahead all along. You were never created to blend in. You were born to be set apart. But being set apart feels like loneliness at first, like exile, like stillness, like delay. You watched others move and thought, why not me? But you didn't see what I was shielding you from. You didn't see the paths they were on had potholes you weren't graced to survive. You didn't see how their progress was surface level, but I was digging deep into you, building foundations that couldn't be shaken when the winds hit. You weren't late. You were underground. You weren't lost. You were being hidden in my hand, reserved for something that required more weight, more maturity, more divine momentum. Let me paint this for you. When I launch arrows, I don't just toss them forward. I pull them back first. The further the bullet, the further the flight. That pullback, that tension, that isolation, that divine pause, it wasn't punishment. It was propulsion. I was drawing you back so I could release you into territory they couldn't reach. You thought they were ahead of you. But beloved, you were being launched. And now, the tension is turning. The pressure is becoming power. The stillness is giving way to suddenness. And you will find yourself in spaces they never expected you to occupy, not because you chased, but because you trusted. So don't grieve the gap. Don't resent the silence. You weren't abandoned. You were accelerated, but my way, not theirs. I was forming something in you that doesn't bend under pressure. And now, as you rise, you'll see what looked like a setback was actually strategy. You're not catching up. You're being catapulted. You're not the one who missed it. You're the one who was marked for more. So shake off the shame. Break agreement with the lie. You weren't left behind. You were held close. And now, I release you forward. Watch what I do next. You've wondered why I've been quiet. You've walked through rooms filled with unanswered prayers, sat in the stillness of mornings where my voice felt distant, and asked, Lord, where are you? You've searched the sky for signs, begged me to just say something, anything, even if it stung. But I need you to hear me now. Even the silence has been speaking. I've been present in ways that words couldn't carry. I've been whispering in the language of depth, the kind of communication that bypasses ears and goes straight to the bones. My silence has not been absence. It's been strategy. You asked me to go deeper, and I answered by quieting the noise. Because what I'm doing in you isn't surface work. This isn't a season of simple instruction. This is a sacred activation, a holy ordering. And sometimes the loudest transformation comes in the stillest moments. I wasn't ignoring you, child. I was tuning you. I was drawing you out of dependency on audible signs and into a knowing, an unshakable inner witness that I am with you, in you, round you, always. Sometimes my greatest words are not spoken. They are felt. Let me show you. When roots grow, they grow in silence. When foundations are poured, they settle in stillness. The deepest parts of you, your faith, your identity, your trust, have been expanding under the hush of heaven. You thought nothing was happening. But child, everything was happening. While you were waiting for me to speak, I was teaching you how to hear me with your whole life. In the tear that fell silently, I was there. In the sigh you breathed at 3 a.m., I answered. In the aching quiet of your questions, I was embedding my word into your soul, wordless but weighty. And now, a shift is coming. And you'll realize, not in a loud moment, but in a holy knowing, I've been speaking all along. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was alignment. I was speaking in rest, in reordering, in restraint. And the fruit of that silence will shout louder than any sermon. So don't fear the quiet. Don't resent it. Embrace it as sacred space. I haven't gone anywhere. I've just been building the kind of communion that no circumstance can shake. And now, as I begin to speak again, audibly, visibly, prophetically, you'll carry a depth no noise could ever form. The silence didn't steal my voice, and deepen your ability to hear it. My child, I know how much you crave understanding. I see the way your mind tries to build maps in the dark, piecing together meaning from fragments, reaching for answers in the quiet. You begged me to explain. You've asked, why now? Why this? Why me? And I felt the ache in your voice. But here is my holy whisper in response. I'm not asking you to understand right now. I'm asking you to trust me even when it doesn't make sense. Because there are things I'm doing that are too deep for comprehension and too sacred for explanation. There are moments I orchestrate not for your mind, but for your spirit. I see from an eternal vantage point. I move according to timelines you haven't even glimpsed. And what feels like confusion to you is actually coordination from my throne. The doors that shut abruptly, the people who disappeared without clarity, the shifts that came without warning, none of it was random. All of it was woven with my fingerprints. And though your understanding feels limited, your faith is about to become limitless. Let me ask you, child, do you trust me more than you trust your own reasoning? Because trust is not proven in the moments when everything is clear. Trust is proven in the fog. When you can't see the way but choose to follow me anyway. When you feel disoriented but decide to keep walking in obedience. That is where trust becomes fire-tested. That is where your faith matures from shallow hope into unshakable confidence. You're standing in a divine mystery, and I know it's uncomfortable, but mystery is where miracles are born. And I am not a God of chaos. I am a God of layers. Layers you will one day look back on and call perfect. So take a breath, not to understand, but to surrender. You're not failing me by not figuring it all out. You're honoring me when you say, even in this, I trust you. Your obedience in the unknown is worship to me. And I am building a masterpiece with strokes you don't yet recognize. But I promise, when the canvas is complete, it will take your breath away. Until then, don't demand answers. Receive assurance. I'm still God. I'm still good. I'm still guiding you with precision. And what doesn't make sense now will one day become the chapter that proves just how faithful I really was. Beloved, hear me now. Don't confuse a chapter closing with a whole book being over. What ended wasn't everything. It was just one part of the story. Yes, it was important. Yes, it mattered. But no, it wasn't meant to last forever. And I know how final it feels when something dies in your hands. The relationship, the opportunity, the dream you cradled like a sacred promise. I watched it slip through your fingers. I saw the sorrow in your eyes when the door closed. But child, the end of one thing is not the end of everything. It's the beginning of what I've always planned. You've mourned something that had a divine expiration date. You tried to stretch it, revive it, keep it breathing. But I, in my mercy, called time. Not because I wanted to break your heart, but because I didn't want you to build your future on what could no longer sustain you. You were building permanence around something that was only meant to be a passage. And if I had let it stay longer, it would have corrupted what I intend to do next. The pain of that ending is real. I'm not minimizing it. but I am refraining it. Because what you call the end, I call the unveiling. The beginning doesn't look like fireworks, it looks like ashes. But even ashes have purpose when they are placed in my hands. Let me remind you of something eternal. I waste nothing. I redeem everything. What you thought was over is simply being repurposed. What you saw as a dead end is actually the starting line of a greater glory. I've always planned this next season. It's not a reaction. It's not my backup plan. It's my original blueprint, the one I wrote before time began. And you, beloved, are stepping into the unveiling of it now. Don't judge this beginning by its quietness. Don't despise the smallness of these first steps. The roots are going deep. The foundation is being laid. And when it rises, it will rise strong. So let it end. Let it be finished. Not with bitterness, but with blessing. Say farewell to what was, not because it failed, but because it finished. And now, as you step away from what cannot go with you, I will begin to unfold what I've hidden for such a time as this. Watch me turn the ending into elevation. Watch me take the ashes and breathe beauty into them. What I've always planned for you is not behind you. It's just beginning. So walk forward, not in grief, but in great expectation. The page has turned. The ink is fresh. And the story, your real story, has just begun. Child, listen closely. I know what it feels like when something is stripped away. When a presence that once felt permanent suddenly disappears. When the voice you used to lean on goes silent. When a structure that held your routine collapses without warning. And everything in you wants to cry out, "Why are you taking this from me?" But let me reveal the holy truth beneath the ache. I'm not subtracting. I'm sanctifying. What looks like loss is actually love in motion. What I remove, I redeem, not in lesser form, but in greater measure. You see, subtraction is what it feels like to the flesh. But in the spirit, it's separation for the sake of sanctification. I'm not robbing you. I'm refining you. I'm not taking from you out of lack. I'm making room for a fullness your life couldn't carry before. At person, at position, at platform. It may have been beautiful, but it was not eternal. It may have blessed you for a season, but it began to blur your vision. You started building your peace around what was never your source. And because I love you too much to let you settle for shadows, I had to sanctify you, to pull you apart, to clean the altar of your heart, to prepare you for glory that does not compete with lesser things. Child, you must understand, sanctification always precedes elevation. The pruning isn't punishment. It's preparation. I only cut what can no longer carry your calling. I only remove what could sabotage your next assignment. And the pain you feel, that's not the sting of divine rejection. It's the sacred touch of holy realignment. I'm pulling you out of counterfeit comfort and setting your feet on a path that leads to uncontaminated promise. You don't need to mourn what I've moved. You need to trust that what I'm preparing is purified, powerful, and tailor-made for where I'm taking you next. So release the bitterness. Resist the urge to reclaim what I've removed. Let me sanctify your atmosphere. Let me empty the vessel so I can pour something weighty, something lasting, something with my fingerprints all over it. You'll look back and say, I thought I lost, but really, I gained everything. I redeem through subtraction. I promote through pruning. And I sanctify through the things I lovingly take away. Say farewell, not in fear, but in faith. For what's coming is cleaner, clearer, carried on the wings of heaven's breath. You're not losing, child. You're being made holy. Let me say this clearly, child. With the fire of heaven and the tenderness of a father who sees the full picture, you are not behind. Not behind in purpose. Not behind in destiny. Not behind in love, in calling, in breakthrough, in anything I've written over your life. The enemy has tried to torment you with timelines. He's tried to make you believe that because others arrived first, you've somehow been forgotten. But hear me now, with heaven roaring behind this truth. You are not on their schedule. You are on holy time. My timing is not rushed by the calendar of man. I don't move according to pressure. I move by perfect design. And everything, yes, everything, I've allowed you to experience has been carefully measured, divinely timed, and intentionally layered to produce something eternal in you. You've seen delay. I see depth. You've seen pause. I see preparation. What others gained quickly, I've been building deeply in you. Because quick does not mean qualified. Loud does not mean lasting. You are not a product of pressure. You are a vessel of precision. You have not missed your moment. You have not failed the test. You have not been bypassed by blessing. I have you on a sacred schedule, one written before the foundations of the world, where every second is sealed with purpose. That relationship that took longer than expected. I was purifying your heart. A dream that didn't launch when you planned. I was fortifying your faith. That promise that still hasn't fully manifested. I was increasing the capacity of your spirit to receive it without crumbling under its weight. You are not late. You are layered. You are not forgotten. You are being fashioned. So stop measuring your life by other people's timelines. Stop mourning milestones you think you missed. I was never late. I was always moving, silently, strategically, sovereignly. And when I move, I make up for time. I redeem years. I restore seasons. I accelerate outcomes. What took others a decade, I can give you in a moment. Because when my timing collides with your surrender, miracles don't ask for permission. They just arrive. So stay steady. Stay surrendered. You're not behind. You're right on time. And the next thing I release will make it undeniable that my clock was never broken. It was simply set to divine time. My beloved, I see the way you stand at closed doors, your hands still resting on the knob, heart lingering in the what could have been. You knock softly, as if maybe it will open again, as if maybe I'll change my mind. But I haven't changed. I've chosen. I've chosen to guard something sacred inside of you that you still don't fully recognize. So hear this now, and let it settle like holy fire in your bones. When I close a door, I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting what's sacred inside of you. You see, you've been carrying something far more precious than you realize. A seed of destiny, a flame of purpose, a divine assignment so weighty that even your adversary has noticed. And I, as your father, your defender, your shield, will not allow you to place that seed in contaminated soil. That's why I closed the door. That's why the opportunity didn't bloom. That's why the relationship didn't hold. Because the space you wanted to walk into couldn't protect what I've placed within you. I saw things you didn't see. Motives behind smiles, traps beneath praise, compromise disguised as favor. And while it felt like rejection, it was actually divine redirection. I didn't shut the door to punish your ambition. I shut it to preserve your anointing. You were on the edge of stepping into something that would have slowly dismantled what I've been carefully building in you. A closed door was not a denial. It was a defense. I stood between you and what looked like success but would have cost you your soul. That opportunity would have celebrated your gifting but suffocated your growth. That connection would have elevated your name but buried your voice. And I couldn't let that happen, because I value you too much to let you trade your legacy for applause. So wipe your tears, not because the pain isn't real, but because the protection is even more real. Stand up from the threshold of what didn't open and walk with me, because I have doors that do not just open, they swing wide with purpose. Doors that don't just accept you, they honor the mantle you carry. What's sacred in you deserves a sacred environment. So let the closed doors be proof that I care too much to let you settle. The room you thought you needed was not worthy of the treasure you are. Let me lead you to the one that is. As I shut the doors behind you, I am also opening a gate before you, one of impact, overflow, and obedience. Child, if this word has touched your soul, I'm inviting you now to become part of spreading it. A world is full of noise, but this is my voice. And when you sow into where my voice is speaking, you become part of the miracle. You fund the message that's waking up hearts. You become the river that carries hope to places your feet may never go, but your seed will. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Luke 6:38. It's not just a verse. That's my now word for you. You're not supporting a channel. You're activating harvest. This is your moment to give. Super thanks, membership, or the link below. Do it now, while the glory is still stirring. My child, I know how deeply you feared the sound of farewell. It echoes in places that already feel abandoned, and so when I ask you to release something, it sometimes reopens every old wound. Every goodbye you were never ready for. Every parting that left you breathless. But this moment is not like the others. What I'm calling you to now is not abandonment. It's alignment. I'm not leaving you. I'm inviting you into something eternal, something holy, something that cannot be shaken by what leaves. You have clung tightly to what I once gave you, but what I give in one season, I sometimes ask for in another. Not because it was wrong, but because it was right for then. And now I'm calling you to something right for now. Alignment means letting go of what is no longer moving in step with my spirit. It means releasing what was once sacred but has become stagnant. Farewell, in this context, is not failure. It's the holy sound of transition. It's heaven saying, there's more. There's next. There's now. I have been quietly shifting you, even when you did feel it. Moving your heart out of the places that once fed you, but no longer fill you. Nudging you out of atmospheres that were once safe, but have grown too small for the anointing expanding within you. And now I'm asking for your yes. Your full, trembling, terrified, but trusting yes. Not to loss, but to alignment. To divine calibration. To walking with me into spaces that honor your calling and carry the capacity to hold what I'm placing upon you. You're not being emptied. You're being elevated. So let the farewell come, not with fear, but with reverence. Speak it not like a victim, but like a vessel. Say goodbye with hands wide open, ready to receive what eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. I'm not taking you away from something. I'm drawing you closer to someone. Me. Alignment isn't always loud. Sometimes, it whispers in moments of surrender. But its fruit will roar in the seasons to come. Say farewell, not to run, but to rise. For what is eternal can only rest in hearts that release what's expired. And I am here, waiting on the other side, with arms wide open, ready to usher you into what I've prepared all along. Beloved, you've been watching things walk away, opportunities dissolve, people exit, doors close, and I see the way your heart trembles. It feels like erosion. Like life is slowly wearing away what you've tried so hard to hold together. But child, Let me declare something now, with holy thunder and unwavering truth. What's leaving your life cannot even begin to compete with what I'm about to send into it. You are not losing your future. You are shedding the fragments that couldn't carry it. I know the silence feels sharp. The absence feels loud. You look around and wonder what you did wrong, why certain things slipped away without notice or closure. But I was not ignoring you. I was orchestrating something bigger. The empty spaces, they are sacred. They are not signs of my neglect. They are proof of my preparation. I had to clear the field. I had to break up the fallow ground, because what I'm sending next needs room. And child, it's heavy with glory. It carries the weight of answered prayers, the substance of things hoped for, but it cannot coexist with what's expired. Hear me now. What left was light compared to what's coming. What walked away was only part of your process, not the promise. If you had tried to keep it, it would have corrupted what I'm birthing in you now. It looked valuable, yes, but it wasn't viable for where I'm taking you. I didn't ask you to mourn the loss because I was cruel. I asked you to release it because I'm just. I'm just in my timing, just in my selection, just in how I reorder your steps for divine elevation. And what I have prepared, eye has not seen, ear has not heard. And it's on its way, fast, fierce, and filled with fire, to lift your eyes from what left. I know the ache. I know the nostalgia. But I'm asking you now to shift your gaze. Look forward. Because I have angels assigned. I have doors that are about to open without effort. I have divine alignments that will honor what you carry. Not tolerated, honor. You will look back on this moment and say, if I had known what was coming, I would have let go even sooner. What's arriving is drenched in destiny, covered in cotton. And no, it doesn't compare to what left. It completely eclipses it. Prepare your heart. The weight of what's next is worth every goodbye. John, come closer. Let me speak into this tension that's been rising inside of you, the one between love and calling. You've been holding things tightly, not just because they are comfortable, but because you love them. The people, the places, the patterns, and that love is real. I don't dismiss it. I see the beauty in your loyalty, the depth of your connection. But now, I must speak plainly. There's a difference between what you love and what you're called to. And this season, this holy hour, is about making that distinction unmistakably clear. Because not everything you love is meant to follow you into your next assignment. Some things were meant for the version of you that needed them, the part of your journey that required comfort and familiarity. But now, I'm calling the deeper version of you forward. A matured one. The anointed one. And to step into that identity, you'll have to release some things you love in order to embrace what you're aligned to. This is not betrayal. This is birth. You're not discarding what mattered. You're simply ascending into what's been waiting. It's not that your love was wrong. It's that your calling is louder now. It's beginning to drown out the noise of comfort. It's pressing against your routines. It's agitating what used to satisfy you. And that discontent you've been feeling, that internal shaking, that's me. It's my spirit awakening you to the truth. You can't stay where you are and become who I've destined you to be. I'm not just leading you into new territory. I'm distinguishing your identity. And with that clarity comes separation, not out of cruelty, but out of covenant. So don't confuse this with failure. This is holy discernment in action. It's the moment where I reveal the fine line between emotion and assignment. Love what was blessed, but don't anchor to it. I am more. I have height. And what you're called to will require space, focus, and obedience like never before. You'll feel the tension. Yes, but in that tension, you'll find truth. The truth of who you really are. The truth of what I've really called you to carry. So trust me as I separate. Trust me as I highlight what can't come with you. You're not walking away from love. You're walking toward legacy. My child, hear me as deeply as your spirit can stand it. I am not simply pruning you. I am removing the counterfeit so I can elevate the covenant. The shallow relationships, the heartless words, the faithless promises, they serve their season. But now you are being invited to step higher into what is sacred. These things were never meant to carry what is coming. They whispered a blessing but could not bear it. So I am asking you for a farewell, not reluctantly, but resolutely. Farewell to what once comforted but now confines. You've held on to echoes, dear one. Echoes of approval from people, gestures that felt tender but contained no depth to nurture your destiny. They said they believed in you, but their belief had a limit. It was built on convenience, not covenant. And the weight of that counterfeit blessing has been crushing the promise I planted in your spirit. So I am stripping it away now. Each departure, each exit, each deliberate detachment, it's not rejection. It's righteousness. It's the redemptive untying of what could have tied you back from the fullness I intend for you. Yes, it hurts. I know. You feel the cooling of what once felt warm. You sense emptiness where there was once a pause. But I ask you now, will you trust me? Will you let me do what only love can? Only love can remove without shame. Only love can dismantle the familiar to deliver you into fresh devotion. Only love can say farewell and still remain your greatest comfort. These good things, the counterfeit, shallow things, they cannot carry what I'm coming to release. So let them go. Let me elevate you back into my covenant. And when the elevation comes, you will look back and testify, if this had stayed, I would have never stood in my promise. You'll see it wasn't cruelty in the detachment but care. Not condemnation but clarity. Not rejection but realignment. You weren't losing worth. You were shedding weakness. You weren't losing connection. You were graduating. You weren't losing community. You were walking into company of covenant. It's farewell. It's not your defeat. It's your descent into destiny. Trust it. Beloved, pause and breathe with me in this moment, because what I'm speaking next is the lifeblood of your future. I am not moving you into empty spaces. I am leading you into places I have prepared. You have felt hollowing. You have glimpsed voids in the atmosphere of your life that resemble abandonment. But beloved, those hollows are not the end. They are the canvas upon which my holy presence will paint your greatest chapter. I ask you, when you feel emptiness, will you trust my hand? Here's a difference between emptiness that leads to despair and emptiness that precedes infilling. The first shrinks you. The second expands you. The first whispers that crossroad endings are failures. The second proclaims they are invitations. I am not pulling you out of places where I have no plan. I am pulling you out of places where my purpose has outgrown the capacity and into an arena I have deeply curated, a blessed atmosphere where your soul will breathe like never before. And I've built it with precision for the fullness of who you are becoming. You have seen collapse. I have seen setup. You have felt loss. I have seen the landing. You have sensed void. I have envisioned the venue. Every door that closed, every relationship that fractured, every plan that stalled, they weren't my derailment. They were my redirection. And I promise you, what lies beyond is everything they never could have been. This isn't stepping into the unknown. This is stepping into the known territory of my promise. This isn't a descent. This is ascent. So receive my whisper. We walk forward not into absence, but into abundance. You will inhabit rooms you never expected, speak words only your soul has heard, and stand in spaces that breathe purpose. It won't feel like it at first. It may look like loss. But child, stay the course. These prepared places will reveal the glory that was always meant to fall. And you were never in the wrong place. You were in a place that was about to shift. Now taste the shift. Beloved, I've watched you lately, quietly contorting, gently diminishing, subtly adjusting the fullness of who you are, just to remain accepted in places I've already moved you beyond. I saw you lower your volume to stay welcome. I saw you dilute your anointing to avoid being too much. I saw you bargain your boldness to preserve peace with people who only understood a version of you I've already evolved. But child, hear me with unwavering clarity now. I will not allow you to shrink yourself to stay where I've already left. There are places that once felt like home, but now feel like tombs. Environments that once fed your growth, but now suffocate your spirit. You've tried to stay out of loyalty, out of nostalgia, even out of fear. But I, the Lord your God, do not lead you backwards. I am not in the places where you must make yourself small to be safe. That is not my covenant. That is compromise. And compromise is not your calling. You've outgrown the framework, not because of pride, but because of purpose. The same hands I used to build that season are now leading you out of it. What you sense as discomfort is not dysfunction. It's divine agitation. I am stirring your spirit not to punish you, but to propel you. You're feeling misalignment because your atmosphere is no longer calibrated to your assignment. You've leveled up, even if those around you haven't noticed. And I will not let you betray your growth to fit into expired rooms. I love you too much to let you shrink beneath the mantle I've placed on your life. You are not called to blend. You are called to blaze. And I will not share you with atmospheres that dim your light just to keep their shadows comfortable. So yes, it's time. Time to say farewell to the version of yourself that needed permission to rise. Time to walk away from platforms that celebrated your silence, but feared your authority. Time to part ways with patterns that served survival but now sabotage your calling. You're not being dramatic. You're being delivered. You're not leaving out of rebellion. You're stepping out in revelation. I'm not asking you to hate them. I'm asking you to honor me more than their opinion. Do not shrink. Do not stall. Do not apologize for where I'm taking you. Those who are meant to walk with you in this next dimension will never require you to diminish your divine design. So rise, as you are, fully, boldly, apologetically. I go before you. Child, you've called some endings messy, some goodbyes painful, and some departures confusing. But let me give you the vocabulary of heaven. Some farewells are holy. Not every ending is chaos. Some are consecrated. Some are divinely timed by the very breath of my spirit, not to create loss but to seal what was once open. I am not just closing chapters. I am sealing covenants, finalizing what must be finished so you can carry what must begin. You see, when a covenant is sealed, it cannot be reopened. And I am sealing certain doors in your life, not as punishment but as protection. You've tried to revisit old cycles, re-explain yourself to people who were never meant to carry the weight of your future, reawaken what I have already buried. But every time you do, the atmosphere grows heavier. Why? Because I've already signed the covenant. I've declared it done. And what I have sealed, I will not allow to be reopened, not because you're not loved, but because you're too loved to go back to what was. Some farewells are holy because they mark the end of striving, the end of confusion, the end of being misunderstood, tolerated, or mishandled. These are not just goodbyes, they are graduations. You're not losing access, you're gaining alignment. I am severing the soul ties that pull you back into versions of yourself that no longer exist. I'm sanctifying your emotional attachments, cleaning the altar of your heart so that only my voice remains. This is not just about what's leaving. This is about who you're becoming. And who you're becoming cannot be birthed in the shadows of yesterday. So grieve if you must, but don't go back. Don't second-guess the farewells I'm orchestrating. Don't reopen what I've redeemed. These sealed covenants carry power, not only to free you, but to protect the purity of your path forward. You'll look back and say, that goodbye didn't break me. It blessed me. Because now, child, you're not just walking into something new, you're walking in covenant with me. And covenant always demands closure. Trust me as I seal the door. The glory behind the next one will make the pain of this farewell pale in comparison. Beloved, you've been taught that holding on is heroic. That strength is proven in your ability to endure, to grit your teeth, to carry burdens silently. You've worn your endurance like armor, thinking, if I just hold on a little longer, it will make sense. It will fix. It will come back. But I come to you now with holy tenderness and say, letting go is not the end of your strength. It is the beginning of your surrender. There is a strength the world applauds, but there is a different strength I anoint. And it doesn't always look like persistence. Sometimes it looks like release, not weakness, not giving up, but giving over. Giving the outcome over to me. Giving the pain over to my hands. Giving the timeline over to my sovereignty. I know it's hard, because you built part of your identity on carrying things, on managing expectations, on sustaining connections. But not everything you're holding was meant to be held this long. Some things were supposed to be placed on the altar a long time ago. And now I'm asking for them again, not because I want to watch you break, but because I want to bless what comes after you bow. There is a peace you've never tasted, and it sits just on the other side of surrender. A peace that silences internal warfare. A peace that replaces self-made pressure with spirit-born direction. That peace isn't earned. It's received. The moment you release. You've been asking me to move, but I've been waiting on your surrender. Your hands are still full of what I asked you to lay down. Your heart is still tethered to places I've already departed. And I can't put new wine in old wineskins. I can't release resurrection while you clutch what I've already buried. I can't send the flood until you stop patching up the dam. It's time, child. It's time. Letting go isn't failure. It's faith. The kind of faith that says, even if I never get closure, even if I never get the apology, even if it never returns, you are enough for me, God. It's the surrender I honor. It's the altar I answer with fire. And when you let go, really let go, you'll feel the shift in your spirit. The weight will lift. The fog will clear. The strength you thought you were losing, you'll find it again. Not in your grip, but in my grace. Because surrender is not your ending. It's where I begin. You've been exhausted, haven't you, child? Running, reaching, trying to hold on to things slipping through your fingers. You've prayed with trembling, fasted with desperation, hoped with hands wide open, only to watch opportunities pass you by and doors remain shut. And somewhere along the way, the lie began to whisper, maybe I have to chase it. Maybe I have to force it. But hear me now, with holy thunder and a love that never runs dry. You won't have to chase what's meant for you. It will recognize you, because I sent it. What's divine does not need to be forced. What's sent from me carries a signature, and your spirit bears the matching seal. An assignment, that connection, that divine appointment. It will not run from you. It will run to you in the timing I've ordained. You don't have to beg for what I've already written into your destiny. You don't have to manipulate open doors when I am the door. You don't have to become someone else to be chosen. The version of you I authored is already enough. I know the fear of being overlooked, the drama of being forgotten. But I am not man. I do not forget what I create. I do not abandon what I call. What's yours by covenant will never require compromise to obtain. So if you're having to chase it, beg for it, plead for them to see you, then perhaps it's not from me. What I send will carry peace. It will feel like recognition, not resistance. It will carry honor, not hesitation. And it will align so naturally, so purely, that you'll know. This didn't come because I chased it. It came because I trusted him. So breathe. Let go of the pursuit that drains your soul. Lay down the idol of proving your worth. Stop running after things that would have never stayed, even if you caught them. I am a God of holy alignment, not exhausting achievement. And when my timing touches your path, the right doors will open by my spirit. The right people will see you without you striving to be seen. The right opportunities will linger because they recognize the oil on your life. And it won't be random. It will be righteous. You don't have to chase what I've appointed. You just have to be still, be ready, and believe that I, the God of all provision, am already sending it. My child, you have cried in silence, haven't you? Long nights where no one saw the weight pressing down on your soul. Private moments where the grief swallowed your breath. You wept over what was, what could have been, and what never came. You've lingered at graves I never told you to build. You've held on to echoes of yesterday, waiting for a resurrection I never promised. And I watched. Not to shame you, but because I knew the exact moment when your mourning would turn into movement. And that moment is now. You've wept long enough, and I honored every tear. I bottled each one, counted them as precious, not one wasted. But tears are not your home. Mourning is not your calling. Sorrow was only a season, and now I'm calling you to rise. Ewag, to leave the burial clothes behind. The very place where you sat in sadness will become the ground you stand upon with strength. I did not make you to live in lament. I made you to move in legacy. And now I say to you, as I said to Lazarus, come forth. What looked like death was only delay. What felt like a finale is about to become the foundation of your next miracle. I know it's hard to walk when your soul still limps. I know it's terrifying to stand when your heart still remembers the fall. But my strength is made perfect in your weakness. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to rise, one trembling step at a time. The oil flows when you move. The power comes in motion. You don't need clothing to walk. You need obedience. You don't need clarity to move. You need my voice. And I'm speaking now, not with a whisper, but with holy urgency. Move. Stand. What? Say farewell to the weeping floor. It taught you how to cry, but now I will teach you how to conquer. Say goodbye to the garments of grief. They served their purpose, but now you will be clothed in glory. The time for stillness has passed. The cloud is moving, and you, my chosen one, are moving with it. This is your Exodus moment. This is your Jordan River. This is the divine crossover. What you wept over is done. What you walk into now is drenched in promise. Dry your eyes. Square your shoulders. I am with you. Now walk. You've heard my voice throughout these message points, not as a distant echo, but as a divine Father speaking directly to your soul. Every line was laced with intention. Every word was wrapped in love. But before I release you into the new, let me wrap this farewell with a seal, a sacred kiss on the forehead of your spirit. Beloved, I never waste a wilderness. I never permit a parting unless it protects your promise. You thought you were being emptied, but you were being entrusted. You thought this was the end, but I was merely clearing the stage for a holy unveiling. The farewell was not the breaking, it was the becoming. And now, with heaven watching and angels assigned, you stand on the edge of something eternal. I don't want you to walk away heavy. I want you to walk away holy, sanctified, ready, set apart, full of divine anticipation. You've been faithful to listen. Now I will be faithful to perform. You will not leave this farewell empty-handed. You will walk out of this divine conversation carrying confirmation, clarity, and covenant. The mantle has shifted. The air has changed. And so has your posture. You're no longer the same. Not because you said farewell to something, but because you said yes to someone. Me. Go now, not as a wounded soul, but as a warrior of light. Let your steps echo like prophecy. Let your silence roar with faith. The farewell has been spoken. The chapter has closed. But the glory story has just begun. And I, the author and the finisher, will walk every line of it with you. Forever. Now that you've said farewell, I'm asking you to say yes to something greater than you. This word wasn't just for you. It's a commissioning, and I've chosen you to be a carrier of it. When you give, you do more than support. You send. You release oil into the hands that are pouring out my heart. You partner with heaven to spread the message to someone who's still stuck, still grieving, still afraid to move. But your giving becomes their gateway. I declared in Malachi 3:10, bring the whole tithe into the storehouse and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven. I dare you to believe that now. I dare you to sow with faith and watch me open floodgates you forgot how to pray for. Do it now through Super Thanks membership with the description link. Don't just hear my word. Fund it. Fuel it. Multiply it. Before you leave this moment, I want you to seal it. I want you to declare what the enemy hoped you'd never say. I'm ready to say farewell. Yes, write it in the comments. Say it boldly. Say it prophetically. Say it like chains are breaking and heaven is watching. Because every time you declare it, you're not just interacting, you're aligning. And as you type those words, know this: I, the Lord your God, am already breathing on your next beginning. And as I breathe, my child, come closer. I need you to listen, not just with your ears, but with the deepest part of your spirit. Do you feel it? That gentle, persistent whisper that has been stirring within you. It is not your own restless imagination, nor is it the echo of the world's anxieties. That gentle pull, that quiet sense that something is about to change, that is my voice. I am calling you. I have been calling you, waiting for a moment of stillness when you would finally hear me above all the noise. I see you in your day-to-day life, moving through the motions, fulfilling your responsibilities, but with a part of your heart listening for something more. That something is here. That someone is me. Recognize this for what it is. I am turning a page in the grand story I am writing for your life. You can feel it, can't you? You can feel the edge of the paper beginning to lift. It is the end of a chapter you know by heart. The people, the places, the routines, the very version of yourself that you have become comfortable with. And the blank space of the next page feels both vast and holy, a little frightening. You look at your job, at the rhythm you've established, and you think, but this is secure. This is what I know. You look at the relationships that have defined this season, and a tremor of fear runs through you. The thought of saying goodbye, even to things that have become heavy, feels like a loss. I see that knot in your stomach, the one that tightens when you think of the future. That isn't from me. Let's undo it together. Breathe now. Just for a moment, be still and breathe with me. Understand that every chapter I write, including the one that is now drawing to a close, is penned with a divine and loving purpose. Nothing has been wasted. Every joy, every tear, every struggle, every victory, they have all served to shape you, to prepare you for what is to come. But to step into the new thing I have prepared, you must be willing to say farewell to the old. This is not a punishment. It is not an abandonment. Embrace this farewell as my holy invitation forward. I am not pushing you out. I am calling you onward. I am leading you to a wider space, to a land with more promise than the one you are leaving behind. You know that growth requires this. A seed cannot become a mighty tree if it remains locked inside its hard shell. A child cannot learn to walk by clinging forever to the safety of what is familiar. You have been in this soil for a season, and it has nourished you. You have grown here. But my beloved, your roots are ready for deeper ground. They are ready for living water you have not yet tasted. The comfort of the familiar has become a limitation, and I love you too much to let you stay where your growth has reached its limit. I hear your silent questions in the night. Am I ready? Am I strong enough? What if I fail? Those are the whispers of fear, and they do not belong to you. My whisper says, you are ready because I am with you. You are strong enough because my strength is yours. You will not fail because I am guiding your every step. So let this be your first act of faith in this new season. I know you have your own timeline, your own ideas about how things should unfold. I see the plans you make, the control you try to maintain because it makes you feel safe. I am asking you now to place the pen back into my hand. Let go of your schedule. Release your grip on the how and the when. Let your very first step be the surrender of your timing to mine. This farewell is not a destination. It is the doorway to the next chapter. Walk through it with me. My child, I give you my peace. I want you to truly receive it now, in this very moment. This is not the world's version of peace, that fragile, temporary calm that depends on everything going perfectly. The world's peace is the absence of trouble. My peace is my presence in the middle of your trouble. It is a deep, unshakable foundation when the ground beneath you is shifting. It is the anchor that holds you steady when the winds of change threaten to capsize your life. This peace is a gift, and no person, no circumstance, no farewell can take it from you, because it comes from me, and I am not going anywhere. I see the anxiety you carry. It is a physical weight upon your shoulders. It is the reason for your sleepless nights, the endless loop of what-ifs that plays in your mind as you stare at the ceiling. You worry about the future, about your finances, about whether you are making the right decision. You fear disappointing those you love. You fear the unknown. Cast that weight upon me. I am not speaking in poetic terms. I mean it literally. Right now, picture that heavy, awkward burden of anxiety. See it for what it is, a tangled mess of fear and worry. Now, I want you to consciously lift it and place it upon my shoulders, for they are broad enough to carry it and a billion more just like it. Feel the release in your own body as you let it go. Stop trying to manage it, to analyze it, to carry it gracefully. Just give it to me. This farewell, this transition, it is not an abandonment. You are not being cast out into the wilderness alone. This is a guided journey, and I am your guide. You feel as though you are stepping off a cliff, but you are actually stepping into my hand. I am leading you, and I know the way. Do you remember the other storms? Your memory is short, but mine is eternal. Remember that health scare that terrified you? I was there. I stilled that storm. Remember that financial crisis when you saw no way out? I was there. I made a way. Remember that broken relationship you were certain could never be mended? I was there. I brought healing. Your entire life is a tapestry of my faithfulness, a long story of storms I have stilled and seas I have parted for you. Why would this time be any different? The fear you feel is a fleeting shadow, my child. It has no substance. It magnifies the problem and minimizes my power. But my love is the eternal sun. Let it rise in your heart right now and watch as that shadow of fear simply disappears in its light. When you walk through this valley of change, you will not walk it alone. Feel my hand holding yours. It is not a faint, ghostly touch. It is the firm, warm, strong hand of your Father. It is the calloused hand of a carpenter who knows how to build, to mend, and to hold things together. I will not let you go. I will not let you stumble. Do not let your heart be troubled. Trust me. Now, I want you to look back with me. I know that when you look back alone, your mind often clings to the thorns, the moments of regret, the words you wish you could take back, the pain you endured. But I want you to look back with me, through my eyes, and see the grace that has sustained you through it all. Do not look back with regret, for every misstep has already been covered by my mercy. Instead, look back with a heart full of gratitude. See the moments of pure joy, that laughter that filled a room, that quiet moment of beauty that took your breath away, that feeling of love that made your heart swell. Do not dismiss them as fleeting. See them as monuments to my faithfulness, small altars of remembrance scattered along the path of your life, reminding you that I have always been a God of goodness and joy. And the trials, do not look at them as evidence of my absence. See them as the forge. A piece of metal does not enjoy the fire. It does not welcome the deafening blows of the hammer. The process is violent and painful, but it is in that very forge that the metal is purified, strengthened, and shaped into something with purpose and beauty. That has been you. Your resilience, your compassion, your patience, your deep, unwavering faith. These things were not born in the easy times, my child. They were hammered into existence in the very fires you begged me to extinguish. Within every single hardship, I embedded a lesson. I want you to find them now. That betrayal taught you the depth of true loyalty. That failure taught you the grace of humility. That season of lack taught you to depend on me, your provider. Do not let the pain of the memory obscure the treasure of the lesson. I am asking you to perform a sacred act of separation. Picture a memory that still brings you pain. And now, with me as your guide, let us gently extract the wisdom from it, like finding a diamond in the dark earth. This diamond, this lesson, is yours to keep. It is a jewel for your crown. But the dirt, the grit, the sharp edges of the pain, you can release those. Let me wash them away. You do not have to carry both. To hold on to the pain is to allow the past to anchor you, to keep you from sailing into the new waters I have for you. Your memories are treasures, testaments to a life lived and a journey taken with me. Cherish them. Learn from them. But do not let them become anchors. I am calling you forward, and you cannot move ahead if you are tethered to the past. Let us honor what has been by being grateful for the lessons, and then turn our faces to the horizon, to what will be. The past was your classroom. The future is your calling. Look at your hands, my child. They are clenched. I see you holding on so tightly, your knuckles white from the effort. You are gripping people, places, and the very identity you have built in this season of your life. You hold on to the approval of a certain person, believing your worth is tied to it. You cling to the security of your home or your job, terrified of what you would be without it. You grasp at the comfort of your routines, because the unknown is a frightening place. But I must ask you, my beloved, how can you receive the new and wonderful gifts I have prepared for you if your hands are already full? You cannot. To receive, you must first be willing to release. I am calling you to loosen your grip. Understand this fundamental truth. Everything you have, everything you are, is a gift that I have entrusted to you for a season. You are a steward, not an owner. That relationship, that home, that job, that money in the bank, you do not own it for eternity. You are managing it for me, for a time. Think of it like this. You are the caretaker of a beautiful garden that belongs to a king. You have tended it, loved it, and enjoyed its fruits. But when the king asks you to move to an even more glorious garden he has prepared, you do not chain yourself to the gate of the old one. You go with gratitude for the season you had, and with joyful anticipation for what is next. This act of letting go is one of the most profound acts of faith you will ever perform. It is you looking at me and saying, I trust you. I trust that your provision for my future is greater than my attachment to my past. I believe that what you have for me is better than what I am leaving behind. This letting go requires you to relinquish the illusion of control. You believe that by holding on tighter, you can steer the narrative of your life, that you can prevent loss and guarantee your own security. But your security does not lie in what you can hold. It lies in the one who is holding you. True safety is found not in your grip, but in mine. So I invite you to open your hands. Do it now, physically. Uncurl your fingers. Turn your palms upward. This is the posture of receiving. This is the posture of trust. By doing this, you create space. You create space in your hands and in your heart for me to place the new people, the new opportunities, the new identities I have for you in the chapter to come. Do not be afraid of the emptiness you feel for a moment when you first let go. That is not emptiness, it is holy space. It is the quiet field I am about to plant with miracles. Release your grip. Trust my provision, and prepare to receive. Before you can pack for a new journey, you must empty your bags of the heavy stones you have been carrying. My child, that heavy weight you feel in your soul is the burden of unforgiveness. You carry it everywhere. It poisons your joy and clouds your vision of the future. I am speaking of that bitterness you hold in your heart toward the one who hurt you. You replay their words, their actions. You feel that sharp sting of betrayal over and over again. You believe that by holding on to this grudge, you are somehow punishing them. But the only person trapped in that prison of resentment is you. It is a hot coal you are clutching in your hand, and it is burning you, not them. Today, I am asking you to drop it. Forgive them, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Release them from the debt you feel they owe you, just as I have released you from your infinite debt to me. This is not about letting them off the hook, it is about taking the hook out of your own art. And there is another forgiveness that is just as crucial. You must forgive yourself. You are far harder on yourself than I could ever be. You constantly revisit your own failures, your shortcomings, your moments of weakness. You judge yourself for the very things I have already washed clean, for the sins my Son's blood has completely erased. When you refuse to forgive yourself, you are unknowingly saying that His sacrifice was not quite enough. You are saying my grace has its limits. My child, hear me now. You are forgiven. It is a finished work. There is no condemnation for you. I have pardoned you, fully and forever. And now, I command you to receive that pardon. Extend that same measure of grace to yourself. Stop punishing yourself for a past I no longer remember. This act of forgiveness, both for others and for yourself, is what clears the path between your heart and mine. Imagine that pathway choked with the thick weeds of bitterness and blocked by the heavy boulders of guilt. Every time you release a grudge, you are pulling a weed. Every time you accept my grace for your own failings, you are rolling a boulder aside. You are clearing the way for our communion to be open, honest, and unobstructed. Do not carry old arguments and unresolved strife into this new season. Make peace your final word. If you can, go to them and speak it. If you cannot, then speak it to me in prayer, and I will hear. Let go of the need to be right and choose instead to be free. The heart cleansed by forgiveness is light, and it is ready for the journey I have planned for you. Do not take one more step forward carrying those heavy, useless stones. Lay them down at my feet now. As you prepare to step into this new season, you must also prepare your spirit for the journey. The path ahead will be beautiful, but it will also test your resolve. Therefore, clothe yourself in the armor I provide. What does this mean for you in your everyday life? It means that when a thought of doubt enters your mind, you must actively answer it with one of my promises. When the whisper of fear suggests you are not good enough, you must declare the truth, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. This armor of faith is not passive. It is a conscious decision you make every single morning to believe my truth over the world's lies or your own insecurities. It is your primary defense against the discouragement that will surely try to assail you. You cannot survive this journey on your own reserves. You must drink deeply from the living water of my word. Do not let your Bible gather dust on a shelf. Open it daily. Let my truths wash over you, hydrate your weary soul, and quench the thirst that the dry places of this world create. My word is not just a collection of old stories. It is active and alive. It is your daily bread, the spiritual nourishment you need to have strength for the road ahead. Without it, your spirit will become dehydrated and weak, susceptible to all manner of spiritual fatigue. And make prayer the very breath of your being. Do not see prayer as a formal appointment you must keep, but as the continuous, open conversation between your heart and mine. The worried thought you immediately turn over to me, that is prayer. The sigh of gratitude for a simple beauty, that is prayer. The cry for help in a moment of panic, that is prayer. Just as you cannot live without breathing, your spirit cannot thrive without this constant communion with me. Keep breathing. Keep talking to me. And do not attempt to be a solitary hero on this journey. I created you for community. I have placed people in your life who can be my hands to hold you up, my voice to encourage you. Do not push them away in your pride. That friend who calls at just the right moment. That is my prompting. That family member who offers a listening ear. That is my provision. Lean on them. Be vulnerable. Find strength in the fellowship of believers who can uphold you in love, pray for you when you cannot find the words, and remind you of my truth when you have forgotten. Anchor your hope not in what you can see with your eyes, the changing circumstances, the uncertain path, but in the unseen promises I have made to you. Your hope must have a foundation that is not of this world. Finally, tend to the inner flame of the Holy Spirit within you. Protect it. Nurture it with your obedience and your worship. Do not quench it with sin or neglect. It is your internal guide, your divine compass, and your ever-present comfort. If you keep that flame burning brightly, you will never lose your way in the dark. My child, let us talk about your ambitions. I gave you a heart that dreams and a mind that builds. I planted within you the desire to achieve, to create, to leave a mark upon this world. But now, in this season of farewell, I am calling you to a sacred inventory. The world shouts its priorities at you every single day. It tells you to climb higher on the ladder, to accumulate more in your accounts, to build a name for yourself that will be remembered. It screams for your attention through glowing screens and endless notifications, telling you what you must do to be seen as successful, as important. The demands feel urgent, do they not? The pressure at your job, the need to keep up, the fear of falling behind. It is a relentless noise. But my voice is not in the shouting. It is the quiet imperative of heaven, a whisper that asks a different question. What has eternal value? I want you to sift through the ambitions of your life with me, as a farmer sifts wheat from chaff. Let us pick them up one by one and examine them in the light of my truth. That promotion you have been striving for, is it born of a desire to serve with the gifts I have given you, or is it born of a fear of being overlooked? That material possession you long for, is it a tool for my kingdom, or is it a monument to your own effort? That reputation you work so hard to protect, is it a reflection of my character in you, or is it a fragile mask you are afraid to let slip? I am not asking you to abandon all worldly things, but to see them for what they are, temporary tools and fleeting shadows. I am calling you to measure your success by a different standard. The world measures by the size of your bank account. I measure by the generosity of your heart. The world measures by your title. I measure by your faithfulness in the small, unseen tasks. The world measures by your followers. I measure by your love. Learn the profound difference between the urgent and the important. The urgent is the email that demands an immediate reply. The important is the person sitting next to you who needs a listening ear. The urgent is the deadline you are rushing to meet. The important is the moment of prayer you feel me calling you to. In this season of farewell, your energy becomes a precious currency. Do not waste it on the chaff that will be burned away. Invest your final energies in the things that will last forever, in acts of love that ripple through eternity, in words of kindness that build up a soul, in expressions of mercy that mirror my own heart. You must come to the deep, liberating realization that your character is the only possession you will carry with you across the threshold. Your patience, your integrity, your humility, your love. This is your true wealth. Simplify your life, my child. Clear away the clutter that distracts your soul from communion with me. Let go of the need to impress the world. In the end, there is only one audience that matters. Live these moments for me. My precious one, we must speak of the people whose lives have been woven together with yours. As this chapter of your life concludes, how you say your farewells matters deeply to me. It is your final opportunity in this season to be a living testament to my love. I know your human instinct. When endings approach, there is a temptation to pull away, to avoid difficult conversations, to leave conflicts unresolved because it seems easier than facing them. There is a fear of vulnerability, a fear of the awkwardness of speaking from the heart. But I am calling you to something higher. I am calling you to the blessing of a graceful goodbye. Do not let your final interactions be marked by silence or strife. Instead, let them be a symphony of grace. I want you to speak words of affirmation and love. Think of those who have walked beside you, who have supported you, who have been my gift to you in this season. Do not assume they know their value. Hail them. Speak your gratitude openly and sincerely. Honor the specific ways I have used them to bless you. A word of encouragement spoken at the end of a season can echo in a person's heart for the rest of their life. You are leaving behind a legacy with every person you know, and you have a choice. Will it be a legacy of unresolved tension and words left unspoken? Or will it be a legacy of encouragement, peace, and love? Do not let the sun set on your time with them while anger or bitterness remains. Take peace. Even with those who have wounded you, I can give you the grace to offer a final word of peace, not to win an argument, but simply to close the book with a clean heart. Share the wisdom I have given you. You have learned so much on this journey. You have weathered storms and celebrated triumphs. Pass on what you have learned. Do not hoard the lessons I have taught you in the forge of your trials. Share your testimony as a parting gift. Let it be a map of my providence for those who will follow, a signpost that points them back to me. Model for them what it means to face a farewell not with fear and despair, but with courage, with dignity, and with an unwavering faith in the goodness of your God. Let them see you leaning on me, drawing your strength from me. Your final interactions are your final sermon in this chapter. They will be more powerful than any words you could ever preach from a platform. Let your life be the message. Let every handshake, every hug, every final conversation be a demonstration of the transformative power of my love. I will give you the words to say and the strength to say them. Just make yourself willing. My child, your fear of this final farewell is natural. You stand at the edge of what you know and gaze into what you do not. The world has taught you to fear this moment, to see it as a tragic end, a dark and silent void. The enemy himself whispers lies of nothingness, of finality, of a great and terrible unknown. But I am here to speak my truth directly into your heart, to replace that fear with a hope that is a confident and glorious expectation. I command you now to lift your eyes. Stop looking at the closing door of this life and fix your gaze upon the open door of the heavenly kingdom I have prepared for you. This is not a fantasy. It is a reality more real, more solid, and more permanent than the ground you are standing on. Meditate on this promise. To be absent from this temporary body is to be present with me. Let that sink in. The moment your journey here is over, your journey with me in perfection begins. There is no gap. There is no void. There is only a seamless transition from my presence by faith to my presence by sight. You let go of the fear of the unknown by clinging to the one who knows all, who created all, and who holds all things together. I am not sending you into darkness. I am personally welcoming you into eternal light. The fear you feel is a fog, but my promise is the sun that burns it away. Begin to envision the great reunion. This is not a solitary journey. A great cloud of witnesses, a heavenly family, is waiting for you. Think of the saints who have gone before you, those you have loved and lost in the faith. They are not gone. They have simply arrived home before you. Their farewell on earth was their welcome in heaven. There are no more tears there, no more sadness, no more pain. Only joy and peace and the glorious celebration of being home. I want you to understand, this earthly farewell is merely the prelude to an eternal welcome home. It is the final page of the introduction to a story that never, ever ends. And at the heart of this promise is the resurrection, my ultimate triumph over the final enemy, death. Death does not have the last word. I do. I defeated it. I hold the keys. For you, it is not a predator. It is a servant, a chariot sent to carry your spirit from the land of the dying into the land of the living. So do not fear the veil. It is thin, and I am waiting for you on the other side. My beloved, we have come to the very heart of the matter. We have spoken of peace, of memory, of letting go, and of the promise that awaits you. But all of these things are rooted in one sacred, powerful act, the act of surrender. I know that in your world, surrender sounds like defeat. It is the language of a lost battle, of giving up. But in my kingdom, surrender is the ultimate victory. It is the moment you stop fighting, stop striving, stop wrestling, and finally find your rest in the truth that I am God and I am in control. You have been holding on to the reins of your life for so long, believing that your effort is what keeps everything moving forward. You plan, you worry, you strategize. But your striving has left you exhausted. I am inviting you now to cease striving. This is my command and my gentle invitation. Surrender your plans, your desires, and your will for this transition into my sovereign plan. Hand them over to me. You have your own ideas about how this farewell should look, what the timing should be, and what the outcome for those you leave behind will be. Release them all. Trust that my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. I see the entire tapestry of your life, from beginning to end. You see only a single, tangled thread. To surrender is to trust the weaver. It is to place the final outcome of this transition entirely in my loving and capable hands. See this surrender not as an act of weakness, but as the most powerful act of worship you can offer. It is your soul's final and most profound declaration of trust. It is you looking into my eyes and saying, I do not understand it all, but I trust you. My life is yours. Let your will be done. In that moment of complete release, you will find a freedom you have never known. The weight of needing to control everything, to figure everything out, will lift. The crushing burden of responsibility for the universe will be removed from your shoulders and placed back onto mine, where it has always belonged. This is not a leap into the dark. It is a conscious fall into the everlasting arms of a Father who loves you perfectly and who will never, ever let you go. This is true rest. This is true peace. This is the victory that overcomes the world, your faith, expressed in the beautiful, sacred act of surrender. My child, your world is so loud. It is a constant barrage of noise, the demands of others, the chatter of media, the endless notifications from devices you carry in your pocket. But there is another noise, isn't there? It is the noise inside your own mind, the relentless spinning of anxious thoughts, the replaying of past conversations, the frantic planning for a future you cannot control. I do not shout over this clamor. My voice is not in the earthquake or the fire. I am the still, small voice that comes after the noise has passed. To hear me, especially now, you must be willing to create intentional moments of silence. I am calling you to step away from the noise and to meet me in the quiet. Tune your spirit to discern my voice. It is a skill, like learning to recognize the song of a specific bird in a forest full of sounds. At first, all you hear is the chorus of your own fears, doubts, and worries. They are loud and demanding. But if you wait, if you sit patiently in the stillness with me, you will begin to notice a different voice. It is the one that speaks peace to your anxiety. It is the one that speaks truth to your confusion. It is the one that speaks love to your feelings of worthlessness. I am always speaking, but you will only hear me when you learn to be still. I am asking you to wait patiently for my instruction, rather than rushing ahead in your own strength or in a panic. Do not make decisions in this season out of fear. Bring them to me in the quiet, and wait for the deep, settled peace that is my confirmation. It is in this quiet that you will receive the comfort and reassurance that no person on earth can give you. The silence will strip away all the non-essential things, all the titles, all the roles, all the distractions, until only the core of your faith remains, you and me. In that sacred space, there is no need for pretense. You can be utterly real with me, and I can minister to the deepest needs of your soul. Do not be afraid of the silence. Do not see it as an empty void to be filled. See it as a holy sanctuary, a meeting place filled with my presence. You will discover, my beloved, that in the deepest stillness my love is most profoundly felt. Find that quiet place today, even for a few moments. Turn off the noise. Close the door. Quiet your own heart. And just listen. I am here, and I have so much I want to say to you. My beloved, let us speak of the legacy you will leave behind. The world teaches you that a legacy is something loud, a name on a building, a book on a shelf, a story told in the news. It is a monument built to a person's greatness, something that shouts their existence to future generations. But my kingdom operates on a different principle. The most powerful legacies are often the quietest ones. They are not etched in stone. They are woven into the souls of others through unspoken acts of love and service. In this final season, I am calling you away from the noise of recognition and into the profound, silent power of a love that simply is. I see you. I see every time you have served when no one was watching. I see the quiet prayers you have whispered for others in the middle of the night. I see the moments you chose patience when you wanted to be angry, the times you offered a gentle word when you could have given a sharp reply. The world did not applaud. No one gave you an award. But all of heaven took notice. Those quiet, hidden acts of love were the purest form of worship, offered directly to me, and their fragrance is eternal. Now, I invite you to make these final moments a masterpiece of unspoken love. Perform acts of service not for reward, not for a final thank you, but simply because it is an expression of my love flowing through you. Look for the small, unnoticed needs around you. A cup of water, a listening ear, a simple moment of presence for someone who is lonely. These are the things that build my kingdom. Pray for others with a renewed and selfless fervor. Your prayers are the most powerful unseen work you can do now. When you entrust someone to my care, you are setting in motion heavenly forces on their behalf. This is a legacy that will continue to bear fruit long after you are home with me. Embody the fruits of my spirit. Let your very presence be a source of peace in a chaotic room. Let your joy, even now, be a confusing and beautiful mystery to those who do not know its source. Let your kindness be a gentle balm on the hurried and hurting souls around you. Do you see, my child? Your greatest sermon will not be a collection of words. It will be the grace with which you approach this farewell. The world is watching. Your family is watching. They are watching to see if what you have believed is real. Will your faith hold in this final test? Your quiet confidence, your unshakable peace, your persistent love in the face of this great goodbye. This will be a more powerful witness than any argument you could ever make. It is the living proof that your God is real, that my promises are true, and that death has lost its sting. Do not worry about being remembered for grand deeds. Simply focus on loving well, right here, right now. The quiet influence of a godly life, one that finishes with grace, echoes into eternity long after all the world's loud noises have faded into silence. Just as your quiet acts of love create a legacy in the spirit, so too does the seed you sow in faith to carry my word. If your heart now burns to leave a legacy of light beyond your own reach, know that I am calling you to send this message like a river into the driest of places. There are souls I am preparing to hear these words, and you can be the vessel that carries them. I declare over you my promise. Whoever sows generously will also reap a generous harvest. I will anoint every seed you sow, and a multitude of souls will be your eternal legacy. This is your divine appointment to partner with me in the unseen work that echoes forever. Therefore, give now through Super Thanks membership, or the sacred link below, and watch as your unspoken love is given a voice that shakes the nations. My child, for your entire life, you have worn titles and roles like familiar clothing. They have kept you warm and have helped you understand your place in the world. You are a parent, a child, a spouse, a friend. You are a worker, a leader, a creator, a helper. These titles have defined you. When people ask who you are, these are the words you have used to answer. I know that as this season changes, the thought of letting these roles go can feel like shedding your own skin. They can feel like a loss of self. You may be asking, if I am not these things, then who am I? This is one of the most important questions you will ever face, and the answer is the key to your freedom in this farewell. I want you to willingly let go of the titles and roles that have defined you in this world, because they are temporary assignments, not your true identity. Your true identity is this, and it has never changed from the moment I first thought of you. You are a child of the Most High God. This is not a role you play. It is the very essence of your being. This was your name before you ever took a breath, and it will be your name for all of eternity. All the other labels are temporary and subject to change, but this one is eternal and unshakable. In this season, I am calling you to release all those other garments and stand in the glorious truth of this one, core identity. Let go of the need for earthly validation. You have spent so much energy seeking the approval of others, wanting them to see you as a good parent, a successful employee, a loyal friend. That is a heavy burden. Lay it down. Your worth is not determined by their opinion. Your value is not based on your performance. Find your self-worth solely in this unshakable fact: you are fearfully and wonderfully made by me, and I have called you my own. This process of detachment may feel like a series of small deaths, and in a way, it is. You are dying to the world's definition of you so that you can be fully alive to mine. See your earthly accomplishments not as your ultimate definition, but as the work I assigned to your hands for a season. You did it, and now that assignment is ending. It does not define you any more than a single day's work defines the worker. As you release these earthly identities, you prepare yourself to embrace the new name, the eternal identity I will give you, one that fully captures who I created you to be. It is a process of becoming more purely yourself than you have ever been. You are not losing yourself in this farewell. You are finally, fully finding yourself in me. Rest in this truth. Let it be the firm ground beneath your feet when all other identities fade away. You are mine. That is all that has ever truly mattered. My beloved, as you prepare for this holy transition, let us do one final piece of work together. I want us to take a quiet, honest inventory of your heart. Do not be afraid. This is not a fearsome judgment or a final exam. Think of it as you and I cleaning out a beloved room together before you move to a magnificent new home. We are not doing it to find fault, but to pack only what is beautiful and necessary, and to discard any last bits of dust and debris, so that you can travel light and free. This is a final cleansing, an act of love, to prepare your heart to meet me. Let us do this gently, with the light of my grace illuminating every corner. First, I want you to ask my Holy Spirit to reveal any hidden roots of bitterness. These are masters of disguise. Sometimes a root of bitterness looks like justified anger. Sometimes it looks like protecting yourself. Sometimes it is a wound so old you have forgotten it is there, but it still quietly poisons the soil of your soul. Is there anyone you have not fully forgiven? Is there a resentment you are still nurturing? Let us pull it up by the root now. Confess it to me, and let my grace wash the very memory of it clean. Let us also look for the subtle dust of pride. Pride can look like self-reliance, a refusal to ask for help. It can look like the quiet comparison you make between your journey and someone else's. It is the part of you that still thinks you have earned my love. Let us sweep it away with the truth of humility, the truth that everything you are and everything you have is a gift of my grace. Ensure your motives are pure as you complete your final tasks on this earth. Are you acting out of love or out of a desire for recognition? Are you serving or are you performing? Be honest with me. Let us purify your intentions so that your last deeds are a pure offering of worship. And check where your treasure is truly stored. Look at where your thoughts go in your idle moments. Look at what you worry about. That is the true indicator of where your heart is. If your treasure is still tied to the things of this earth, possessions, reputation, security, let us together move it to heaven. Let your heart's final investment be in the things that are eternal. This is not a process of condemnation, my child. It is a process of liberation. With every piece of debris we clear away, your heart becomes lighter. With every corner we cleanse, your soul becomes brighter. The goal is to approach the threshold with a heart that is humble, pure, and wholly mine, ready and unburdened for the glorious welcome that awaits. My good and faithful servant, I want you to find a holy satisfaction in the work of your life. I know your heart. I know that as you look back, you are tempted to see only the things you did not do, the goals you did not reach, the person you did not become. The enemy loves to whisper words of regret in this final season, to tell you that your life was not enough. I am here now to silence that voice with my truth. You see the unfinished tasks, I see a completed race. You see the moments you stumbled. I see the faithfulness you showed in getting back up, time and time again. Your race was never about perfection. It was always about perseverance. And you have persevered. I want you to look upon the work of your hands, your family, your friendships, your labor, and I want you to see my faithfulness woven through all of it. Every success was my grace empowering you. Every failure was my grace sustaining you. It has all been part of the beautiful, complex tapestry I have been weaving. Do not despise the small things. You may be tempted to think your life was insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But you cannot imagine how important your small acts of obedience have been in my kingdom. That prayer you whispered for a stranger on the street, that meal you delivered to a grieving friend, that moment you chose to speak a word of truth with kindness, I saw it all. I recorded it all. In heaven, these are not small things. These are the very substance of a life well lived. Nothing you have done in my name has been wasted. Now, I give you this command, and it is a command of rest. Release the desire to do more. Let go of the feeling that you must accomplish one more thing to prove your worth. Your assigned work is done. The story I wrote for your time on earth is complete. It is time to lay down your tools. It is time to rest in the knowledge that you have fought the good fight. You have finished the race. You have kept the faith. The striving is over. The struggle is done. All that is left is to receive your reward. Prepare your heart not for a final critique, but for a glorious commendation. Lean in and listen with the ears of your spirit. Can you hear it? The words are already forming on my lips. The words your soul has longed to hear your entire life. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your master. There is no greater beauty than this, the peace of a task completed, and the joy of a master who is pleased. My beloved, Your final act of stewardship on this earth is to instruct and encourage those who will remain. This is not about giving orders or trying to control their lives after you are gone. It is about passing the torch of faith, leaving them with a legacy of truth and hope that will sustain them on their own journeys. Your life has been a testament to my goodness, and now you must share that testimony as a roadmap of my providence. Do not speak of your own strength. Speak of how my strength was made perfect in your weakness. Your story is not about your own heroic efforts. It is the story of my relentless, faithful pursuit of your heart. Share that story. Let it be a source of encouragement and a powerful reminder that I can be trusted. Urge them, I charge you, to hold fast to the truth of the gospel without wavering. The world will try to offer them 1,000 different versions of the truth, 1,000 different paths to peace. Remind them that I am the way, the truth, and the life, and that no one comes to the Father except through me. Remind them of my promises, for these are their true inheritance. These promises are their strength when they are weak, their light when they are in darkness, and their hope when they feel hopeless. Charge them to love one another. This is the great commandment that sums up all the rest. Implore them to forgive quickly, to serve selflessly, and to bear with one another's burdens, for this is how the world will know that they are my disciples. And now, my child, comes the most difficult and most beautiful part of this final instruction. You must entrust your loved ones entirely to me. I know the deepest cry of your heart is for their safety, their well-being, their salvation. You have spent your life trying to protect them, to guide them, to fix them. But you must now accept that you cannot carry them into my kingdom. Your greatest act of love for them now is to release them from your protective care into mine. Pray for them, bless them, speak truth to them, and then place them into my hands. You must trust that I love them even more than you do. You must trust that my plan for their lives is perfect. You must trust that my grace is sufficient for them. Your anxiety for them is not helping them. Your surrender of them to me is what will release my power in their lives. So pass the torch, give the final charge, and then release them. I will be their God, just as I have been your God. I will be their guide, just as I have been your guide. They are in my hands, and there is no safer place in the universe for them to be. My child, for your entire life, you have been nourished by the bread of this world, and I am the one who provided it, the food that sustained your body, the comforts that soothed your mind, the simple pleasures that brought you moments of happiness. These things are gifts from my hand, but they are temporary sustenance, designed for a temporary journey. They are like the snacks one eats along the road, not the banquet that awaits at the destination. Now, as you draw nearer to home, a shift must occur in your appetite. Your soul's deepest hunger cannot be satisfied by the fleeting pleasures of the earth. I am calling you to wean yourself from the bread of this world, so that you may develop a hunger and thirst for the eternal feast I have prepared for you. Think of how a palate changes. A person accustomed to overly sweet or salty foods finds simple, wholesome nourishment to be bland. But as they begin to choose what is truly good for them, their tastes change. They begin to crave what is life-giving and lose their desire for what is merely distracting. This is what I am calling you to. I want you to decrease your appetite for temporary comforts. The hours you spend on meaningless entertainment, the energy you pour into worldly validation, the comfort you seek in material possessions. These are the sugary snacks that dull your spiritual taste buds. They fill you up without ever truly nourishing you. I want you to increase your hunger and thirst for righteousness, for my presence, for the deep, satisfying substance of eternal things. Recognize the profound difference. Earthly satisfaction is a fleeting moment, a spark that quickly dies out. The fullness of joy in my presence is an eternal fire a constant and overflowing wellspring. This is a practical and conscious choice. You must practice fasting from distractions in order to feast on spiritual nourishment. What does this look like in your final moments? It means choosing to turn off the noise of the world to sit in the quiet with me. It means putting down the novel of temporary escape to pick up the living word of eternal truth. It is a shifting of your focus from your temporary dwelling here to your permanent, glorious home with me. Let your soul's deepest longing be for me, your Creator, more than for any created thing. Let the cry of your heart be, as the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you, my God. As you intentionally turn away from the lesser appetizers of the world, you will find your soul awakening with a ferocious hunger for the only one who can truly satisfy. This process of weaning is not one of deprivation. It is one of anticipation. You are simply leaving the snacks behind because you can already smell the aroma of the heavenly banquet that awaits you. My beloved, let us talk about how you see. Your human eyes are fixed on the present moment, on the circumstances directly in front of you. And right now, what you see is a farewell. You see loss. You see an ending. You see the pain of separation and the uncertainty of what comes next. When you are in the middle of the storm is all you can see. The waves of grief look like mountains. The winds of change feel like they will tear you apart. The pain of this moment feels all-consuming, as if it is the only reality. But I am inviting you now to see with different eyes. I am calling you to look at your life, this moment, this farewell, through the lens of my eternal perspective. From where I stand, this is not the cataclysmic event it appears to be. I see the whole of your existence, from the moment I knit you together in your mother's womb to the unending ages of eternity we will spend together. From this vantage point, your entire life on earth, all its joys and sorrows, all its decades of striving, is but a blink, is a breath. It is a short and beautiful prelude to the real story. I need you to grasp this profound truth. Your light and momentary troubles are achieving for you an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. The pain you feel right now, which seems so heavy, so permanent, is, on the scales of eternity, as light as a single feather. And I am using the gentle pressure of that feather to forge for you a crown of glory that is immeasurably heavy and will last forever. You see the divine exchange. You give me your momentary troubles, and I give you eternal glory. Let this new perspective shape your reality. Let your hope be formed not by the limitations of this earth, but by the glorious, unshakable reality of heaven. When you look at the people around you, see them as I see them, not just as their roles or their personalities, but as eternal souls, created in my image, on their own journey toward me. This changes how you say goodbye. You are not saying a final farewell to a temporary being. You are releasing an eternal soul into the next phase of their journey, knowing you will meet again. Live these final moments in the profound and thrilling reality of what is to come. This farewell is not the sun setting on your existence. It is the final darkness of the night just before the eternal dawn breaks. From my perspective, the sun is already rising. The shadows of this world are fleeting, and the true, brilliant, unending light of your real life is already beginning to shine. My child, I am about to speak a truth that is the complete opposite of everything the world has ever taught you. It is the great, upside-down secret of my kingdom. The world tells you to build, to accumulate, to grasp, to hold on to your life with all your might. The world sees losing as the ultimate failure. But I tell you this, whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. This is the sacred paradox you must embrace now. You must understand that in letting go of this world, you are gaining a heavenly kingdom. This is not a loss. It is the ultimate and most brilliant investment in your eternal future. Consider a seed. As long as it is kept in a dry, safe place, it remains what it is, a small, hard, isolated thing with the potential for life locked inside. To the world, it is safe. It has not been lost. But to become what it was created to be, it must be lost. It must be dropped into the cold, dark earth. Its shell must break. It must cease to be a seed. It must die. Only then, in that act of complete surrender and loss, can it burst forth into a new and glorious form, a plant that bears fruit, gives shade, and brings life to others. To cling to your life as it is now, to grasp at your earthly existence out of fear, is to choose to remain a seed in a jar on a shelf. To willingly lose your life, to surrender it to me in this final farewell, is to allow yourself to be planted in the soil of eternity. Can you even begin to imagine the glorious form you will take when you break forth from that soil into the light of my immediate presence? This truth applies to everything. For every relationship you must say a temporary goodbye to here, 1,000 more await you in the communion of saints. For every temporary pleasure you release, an eternity of unimaginable joy is your inheritance. This final farewell, this last loss of breath on earth, is the first gasp of celestial air. It is the ultimate dying to self, which is the only path to truly living in me. Do not see this as a subtraction. See it as a multiplication. You are giving up a finite, broken, and temporary existence in exchange for an infinite, perfect, and eternal one. It is the greatest trade in the history of the cosmos, and it is a trade I am offering to you out of my boundless love. Embrace the paradox. Open your hands. Let go of the life you have known. And in that very act of losing, you will find the real, vibrant, unending life you were created for all along. My precious child, listen. Can you hear it? There is a divine music that underpins all of creation. It is the symphony I have been composing since before time began. Your life is a unique and irreplaceable instrument in my grand orchestra. For so long, you have tried to play your own tune. In your strength, you have played loud, triumphant notes. In your fear, you have played discordant, jarring notes of anxiety. In your sorrow, you have played long, mournful notes of grief. You have held the instrument, and you have tried your best to make beautiful music, but the effort has been tiring, and often the sound has been one of striving, a clash of your will against the greater composition. The sound has been the music of a solo instrument, trying to find its way in the dark. But now, I am calling you to something far more beautiful. I am calling you to surrender your will to mine, to finally and fully trust the conductor. Surrender is the moment you stop trying to compose your own melody and you quiet your own instrument to listen for the music of the entire orchestra. It is the moment you look up from your own sheet music and fix your eyes on me, your conductor, trusting that I know the score perfectly. It is the moment you willingly place your instrument, your very life, into my hands, knowing that the music I will play through you is more glorious, more harmonious, more breathtakingly beautiful than anything you could ever compose on your own. It is in this surrender that you find your perfect part in the symphony of all creation. Feel the peace that comes when you cease to fight against my divine current. Your life has had many movements, has it not? There have been slow, somber adagios of loss. There have been light, joyful allegros of celebration. There have been moments of tension and moments of release. You may have looked at these different parts and wondered how they could possibly fit together. But I, the conductor, have been shaping all of it. I have been weaving the sorrow with the joy, the struggle with the triumph, to create a masterpiece. Your surrendered life becomes a beautiful song of worship to me. Let your final note on this earth not be one of protest or fear. Let it not be a clashing, discordant sound. Let your final note be one of perfect submission, a quiet and beautiful harmony with my will, a final, peaceful resolution that says, Amen. Let it be so. When you surrender your will, the frantic noise of your life finally resolves into the beautiful, perfect music you were always created to make. My faithful one, the night is far spent, and the day of your homecoming is at hand. This is the final watch. In ancient cities, the watchman on the wall had the most crucial job in the final hours before dawn. It was then that the city was most vulnerable, and it was then that his vigilance was most needed. He could not fall asleep. He had to keep his eyes fixed on that horizon, watching with expectation for the first rays of the morning sun. This is where you are now. It is not a time for spiritual slumber, for distraction, or for carelessness. It is a time for a quiet, holy, and wakeful expectation. I am calling you to be vigilant in spirit as the hour of your departure approaches. What does this vigilance look like? I want you to be like the wise servants in the parable, who kept their lamps trimmed and burning, filled with oil, waiting the return of their master. That oil is your living relationship with me. Keeping your lamp filled means you must now, more than ever, tend to your communion with me. Fill your heart and mind with the oil of the Holy Spirit through prayer, through worship, through meditating on my word. Do not let your lamp run dry in these final moments. The enemy would love nothing more than to find you spiritually asleep, to whisper one last lie of fear or doubt into your unguarded mind. Stay awake. Be watchful. Keep your heart set on me. I know you are weary. The journey hath been long. But do not grow tired in this final hour, for your redemption, your full and glorious deliverance, draws near. Use this sacred time of waiting wisely. Let it be a time of deep introspection, a final opportunity to commune with me in a way you never have before. Use these moments to put your affairs in order, not just your earthly affairs, but the affairs of your soul. Ensure there are no unconfessed sins, no unforgiven hurts, no unresolved issues between you and me. Be found ready. A servant who is found awake and watching when the master returns is a servant who will be greatly honored. I want to find you not in a panic, not distracted by the fading things of this world, but with your bags packed, your lamp burning, and your face turned eagerly toward the eastern sky, waiting the dawn of your new day. This final watch is not an empty, anxious waiting. It is a precious, intimate, and purposeful preparation for the greatest journey of your existence. My child, I see you. I see your weariness. I know that the strength that has carried you this far feels as if it is fading. Your body is tired. Your emotional reserves are running low. You look at this final step of the journey, this last hill to climb, and a very human thought enters your mind. I don't have enough strength left for this. You are right. You do not. And that is the most perfect place you can possibly be. For your entire life, you have operated from your own strength, your own resilience, your own determination. But this final leg of the journey is not designed for your strength. It is designed for mine. I have allowed your own reserves to run dry so that you can finally experience, in the most profound way, the reality of my all-sufficient grace. So I ask you now, lean on me. I mean this in the most practical way. Lean not on your own emotional fortitude, which rises and falls like the tide. Instead, draw from my infinite ocean of grace. My strength does not run out. My peace does not waver. My love does not grow weary. When you feel you cannot take another breath, I will be the breath in your lungs. When you feel you cannot bear the pain, I will be your supernatural endurance. You have heard the words that my power is made perfect in weakness. Let us make that more than a theological concept. Let it be your lived reality now. The world has taught you to hide your weakness, to put on a brave face. I am telling you to embrace your weakness. Acknowledge it. Present it to me as an empty vessel. It is in your complete inability that my ability can finally be displayed in its fullness. Your weakness is the space I have been waiting for to pour my power into. You do not have to be brave for this last step. You only have to be held. Think of a marathon runner who has given everything they have. They collapse just before the finish line, their own strength utterly spent. A good and loving father does not stand at the finish line shouting, "Try harder." No. He runs on to the course, scoots his beloved child into his arms, and carries him the final few feet. That is who I am for you now. The race you have run has been valiant. But this last step is not about your running. It is about my carrying. Stop striving. Stop trying to muster the strength. Just relax into my arms. I myself will carry you across the finish line. My grace is not just available for you. It is actively pursuing you, ready to uphold you, sustain you, and bring you safely, gloriously home. You are not alone in this. You are being carried. You have just felt my grace to carry you when you could not walk, and if your spirit now yearns to be the vessel of that same grace for another, then hear me now. There are countless souls at this very moment who feel they cannot take another step, whose strength has failed them, and who desperately need to hear that I will carry them across their finish line. This is your divine assignment, to send this word as manna into their wilderness at this appointed time. I declare over you my living promise. I, your God, will meet all your needs according to the riches of my glory. As you pour out this oil of hope for their lamps, I will ensure your own vessel never runs dry. Act now. Obey the stirring in your spirit. Give through super thanks, membership, with a link below, and become my hands that carry the weary. My beloved, in these final days and hours, I want to give you a precious gift. It is a gift that you must participate in creating with me. It is the deep, soul-settling peace of having no regrets. I do not speak of the regrets of your past, for those have been washed away by the blood of my Son. I speak of the moments that are before you now. You have been given this sacred time not to simply wait, but to live in such a way that you store up no new regrets. It is an opportunity to bring the relationships and affairs of your life to a place of peaceful closure, to leave behind a legacy of love, not of unfinished business. This is an act of profound love, both for yourself and for those you will leave behind. I want you to live these moments with a holy intention. Speak the truth in love. Are there words of love, of gratitude, of encouragement that you have left unspoken in your heart? Do not let them remain there. The fear of awkwardness is a small price to pay for the gift of a heartfelt word that someone can cherish for the rest of their life. Let no one you love have to wonder what you thought of them. Yell them. And are there words of apology that need to be spoken? Is there an old wound that needs the healing balm of a humble "I'm sorry"? Let go of your pride. It is a useless burden. Make amends where you can. Seek a clear conscience before me and before all people. You cannot control how others will respond, but you can control your own act of humble obedience. Act with integrity and purpose. Know that these are your final earthly deeds. Let them be a reflection of my character. Let your actions be marked by kindness, generosity, and selflessness. Leave no important task undone if it is within your power. Leave your affairs in order, not out of fear, but as a final act of love and provision for your family. Walk in the light, as I am in the light. This means living with a transparent honesty, with nothing hidden in the shadows. Let your yes be yes, and your no be no. The ultimate peace you are seeking comes from this place of completion, this knowledge that you have loved well and served faithfully to the very end. Do not procrastinate the matters of the heart. Today, this very moment, is the time. Let us walk through these final interactions together. I will give you the wisdom to know what must be said, the courage to say it, and the grace to do what must be done. Let us work together to give you the gift of a peaceful goodbye. My child, be still for a moment. Can you feel it? The spiritual atmosphere around you is beginning to change. Heaven is drawing near. The veil that separates the world you can see from the world you cannot is growing thin. I want you to open the senses of your spirit and perceive what is happening, for it is a great and holy mystery. You are beginning to stand in the space between two worlds. The noise and the frantic pace of the earth are starting to fade, and a new reality, a heavenly reality, is beginning to make itself known to your soul. This is not something to be feared. It is something to be welcomed with a sense of awe and wonder. I want you to think of the moments just before sunrise. The world is quiet. The deep darkness of the night is not yet broken, but it has lost its power. You cannot yet see the sun, but you can sense its coming. You can see the faintest glow on the eastern horizon. The air itself feels different, charged with a holy anticipation. This is where you are now. You are in the sacred moments before the eternal dawn. You may begin to sense the first rays of heavenly light breaking through the shadows of this world. You may feel the spiritual atmosphere around you shift, becoming thick with my presence and the presence of my angelic host. Do not dismiss these feelings as imagination. I am allowing you to have a foretaste, a small glimpse of the glory that is to come. You may even begin to hear things your earthly ears cannot. Listen with your heart. Can you hear it? A faint, celestial music, a harmony that is beyond any earthly composition. It is the sound of heaven, the symphony of worship that never ceases, and it is beginning to drift across the veil to welcome you. Let the hope of what is to come become a tangible reality in your spirit. Let it be more real than the pain in your body or the sorrow in the room. Know this with a certainty that settles deep in your bones. The darkness of this world is a fading thing. All of its power, all of its pain, all of its sorrow is losing its grip. And the true light, the light of my glorious presence, is already shining. This farewell is not a descent into darkness. It is the final, darkest hour of the night, the one that always, without fail, comes just before the brilliant, glorious, and everlasting dawn. My beloved, your entire life has been a long and beautiful prayer offered up to me. It has been a prayer of joy, of sorrow, of questions, of praise, of struggle, and of faith. Now, the time has come for this prayer to conclude, and the final word of this prayer, the seal upon your life's testimony, is the word Amen. I want you to understand the profound power of this word. It is not a word of ending, like the end at the close of a book. It is a word of divine agreement. It is your soul rising up to declare with all of its remaining strength, let it be so. It is you looking at the entirety of your life, the parts you understood and the parts you did not, the answered prayers and the ones that seemed to go unanswered, and affirming your unwavering faith in my goodness and my sovereignty over it all. There are two kinds of amen. There is an amen of weary resignation, a defeated sigh of giving up because the fight is too hard. That is not the amen I am calling from you. I am calling you to a triumphant amen. It is a bold, courageous, and faithful declaration. It is you standing on the foundation of my promises and agreeing with my plan, even the parts that have been painful and mysterious. It is your final statement of trust. It is your ultimate act of aligning your will with mine. When you say this amen, you are sealing your testimony. You are telling all of heaven, all of earth, and all the forces of darkness that your trust in your God is absolute and that you have not been put to shame. Let this amen be the echo of your entire journey of faith. It is you saying amen to the grace that saved you. It is you saying amen to the love that has sustained you. It is you saying amen to the hope that has carried you. It is you saying amen to my promise of eternal life. This is not a passive acceptance. It is an active agreement. It is the final yes of your heart to me. It is the last word you will speak in the language of faith on this side of the veil. And I tell you a glorious secret. Your last amen on earth will be the echo of your first word of praise in heaven. So gather up all that you are, all that you have been, and all that you hope for, and offer it to me now with this final, powerful, and beautiful word. Amen. My child, let us prepare you now for your entrance into my royal court. Imagine you have just completed a long and difficult journey through a muddy wilderness. The clothes you wear are heavy with the grime of the road. They are torn from the thorns you have passed through, stained with the sweat of your labor and the tears of your sorrow. How wonderful, how liberating would it feel to finally take them off and cast them aside? This is what we must do now. I am calling you to a holy disrobing, a willing release of the earthly garments you have worn for so long, so that you may be clothed in the splendor of heaven. Let us begin. First, let go of the heavy robe of your roles and responsibilities. The garment of parent, of worker, of provider. They have served their purpose, but their weight is no longer yours to bear. Let it fall to the ground. Next, unbuckle the heavy armor of self-preservation that you have worn to protect your heart from the wounds of this world. You are entering a place of perfect safety, a place where no harm can ever touch you again. You no longer need it. Let it go. And now, take off the dark and heavy cloak of sorrow, of grief, of pain. I know you have carried it for a long time, but in my presence there is no more mourning. I myself am preparing for you a brilliant white robe of righteousness and a garment of praise. You cannot put on the new until you have taken off the old. I know this process can make you feel vulnerable, exposed. To let go of the roles that defined you and the defenses that protected you is to stand in a place of simple, naked faith. But it is in that very place that my grace can finally clothe you. You not cling to these old, worn-out garments. They are the clothing of your fallen world, and they have no place in my eternal kingdom. Willingly, peacefully let them go. Stand before me now, ready and unadorned, your heart open and your spirit free from the weights of this world. The transformation is at hand. You are being stripped of the temporary so that you can be clothed in the eternal. And I tell you, the glory of the garments I have prepared for you is beyond anything you can possibly imagine. My child, I want you to perceive a great and holy mystery. In my presence, in the heavenly courts, there is never silence. There is the unceasing song of worship, the sound of a million voices praising my name, a sound like the rushing of many waters. It is a symphony of joy that has no end. But as one of my precious children prepares to cross the threshold, as your race nears its completion, a holy hush falls over all of heaven. The eternal song pauses. The angelic host, those mighty warriors of light, cease their declarations. All of creation seems to hold its breath in a moment of profound and reverent anticipation. Do not think for a moment that your journey has been a small or insignificant thing. In a world that so often made you feel overlooked, I want you to understand that your life, your faith, your struggle, and your final victory are of cosmic importance in my kingdom. All of heaven has been the audience to your story. They watched when I first breathed life into you. They celebrated when you first called upon my name. They were the unseen witnesses to your private battles, the moments you chose faith over fear when no one else was watching. They saw your tears of sorrow and your tears of joy. The salvation and perseverance of even one of my children is a cause for thunderous celebration in the heavens. And now, as you prepare to come home, they fall silent not out of emptiness, but out of a reverence so deep it cannot be contained in song. It is the silence of an honor guard awaiting the arrival of a hero. It is the quiet of a throne room just before the beloved child of the king enters. This silence is not for your judgment. It is for your honor. It is the universe acknowledging the great work I have done in you and through you. It is a moment of sacred focus, where all of heaven's attention is on you, my beloved, as I prepare to welcome you home. Let this truth wash over you and erase any feeling of smallness you have ever felt. You are not a nameless face in a crowd. You are a child of the King, and your homecoming is an event that commands the attention of all my heavenly host. Feel the sacredness of this moment. Feel the weight of its glory. This silence is a space filled with a love and an honor so profound, it can only be expressed by a stillness that transcends all sound. And know this with a thrill in your spirit. This great and holy silence is only temporary. It is the deep, quiet breath that comes just before the glorious, unending roar of celebration that will erupt the moment you cross into my arms. My beloved child, we have now arrived at the ultimate act of faith, the culmination of every moment of trust you have ever placed in me. Every time you have prayed, "Thy will be done," every time you have stepped out in obedience when you could not see the path, every time you have leaned on me instead of your own understanding, it has all been practice for this one, final, beautiful act of release. It is the moment when you will willingly, peacefully, and confidently entrust your very spirit, the essence of who you are, into my hands. My own Son, in his final moments on the cross, showed you the way. He gave you the words. He modeled for you this perfect act of trust when he cried out, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." He did not say it with fear, but with the calm assurance of a son returning to his father. This is your inheritance as well. I know the primal fear this brings to the human heart. It is the fear of letting go completely, the fear of the final unknown. But I want you to reframe this moment. Think of when you were a small child, standing on the edge of a swimming pool. You could not swim, and the water was deep. But I, your father, was in the water with my arms outstretched, saying, "Jump to me. I will catch you." You did not understand the physics of buoyancy. You did not know how I would keep you from sinking. All you knew was who was calling you. And because you trusted me, you could make that leap. This is that moment. You are standing on the edge of life, and I am in the ocean of eternity with my arms outstretched to you. This is not a leap into the dark. It is a confident returning to your source, a joyful jump into the arms of the one who has always loved you. I want you to think about my hands. These are not the hands of a stranger. These are the hands that knit you together in your mother's womb. These are the hands that inscribed your name on their palms before time began. These are the hands that shake the mountains and hold the stars in their courses. These are the hands that were pierced with nails for your salvation. Is there any safer, more loving, more powerful place in all the universe for your spirit to be? No. To commit your spirit into my hands is the safest transaction you will ever make. It is the final and most complete exchange of your weakness for my strength, your fear for my peace, and your temporary life for my eternal one. This is not the end of your consciousness. It is the beginning of your true and unhindered existence. It is the ultimate act of faith and the doorway to your eternal home. My precious one, I want to speak with you now about a moment that the world fears perhaps more than any other. I want to talk about your final breath on this earth. The world sees this as a tragedy, a final, desperate gasp for a life that is ending. But I am here to wash that image from your mind and replace it with my truth. Your last breath is not an end. It is a release. It is not a sign of defeat. It is the quiet, physical signal of your spirit's ultimate liberation. I want you to see this final exhale not as a struggle, but as a long, slow, peaceful sigh of relief. It is the sigh you give after a long and arduous journey is finally over. It is the sigh of the laborer whose work is finally done. It is the sigh of a soul that is, at long last, letting go of all the burdens it has carried for a lifetime. With that one final exhale, I want you to consciously let go of everything that belongs to this fallen world. With it, release the memory of every physical pain you have ever endured. Release the weight of every sorrow that has ever pressed down upon your heart. Release the struggle and the toil of living in a world that is not your true home. Release your attachment to a body that has grown weary, that has been subject to sickness and decay. This is not a violent severing. It is a gentle untethering. You are a ship that has been moored in a temporary harbor for a season, and this final exhale is the moment you slip the last rope and are set free to sail into the boundless ocean of eternity. And I want you to know what happens in the very instant that this exhale is complete. There is no pause. There is no void. In the same moment, the very same fraction of a second, you will take your first inhale of pure celestial air. You will breathe in the atmosphere of heaven itself. And that breath will not be tinged with the sorrow or pollution of your old world. It will be a breath of pure joy, of perfect peace, of vibrant and unending life. It will be the breath that fills your glorified lungs, a body that will never again know pain or weariness. The world sees only the letting go. It sees only the exhale. But I see the glorious receiving. I see the inhale. So do not fear this moment. It is the gentlest transition imaginable. It is the quietest of goodbyes and the most glorious of hellos, all contained in a single, peaceful breath. My child, your culture has filled your mind with frightening images of this moment of transition. It speaks of a grim reaper, of a lonely walk through a dark tunnel, of a fearsome and uncertain passage. I am here now to utterly demolish those lies and to show you the beautiful reality of what this crossing is truly like. Hear me clearly. You do not make this crossing alone. From the moment your spirit is released from your body, you are in my immediate and loving care. I am with you. My holy angels, those brilliant messengers of light and strength, are there to attend to you, to surround you, to guide your spirit home with honor and celebration. The feeling is not one of falling into a dark abyss. The feeling is one of being lifted up, of being gently and joyfully carried. I want you to replace the image of a dark tunnel with this one. Imagine you have been walking through a cold and desolate storm. The wind is howling, the rain is freezing, and you are weary to the bone. And then, you come to a simple doorway. As you step through it, you are instantly in a warm, brilliantly lit home. The air is filled with the scent of a feast. The sounds are of laughter and joyful music. And the first face you see is the one you have longed for your entire life, welcoming you with a love that melts away all the memory of the cold. That, my child, is a more accurate picture of this threshold you will cross. It is not an ending. It is an arrival. As you step through that veil, you pass from time into eternity. The relentless ticking of the clock, the pressure of deadlines, the feeling of running out of time, all of it ceases. You step into a timeless, eternal now. You pass from shadow into substance. The things of your world, which seem so solid, you will now see were just faint copies, mere shadows of the glorious, vibrant reality of my kingdom. You leave behind the confines of a physical body that has limited you, with its pain, its weariness, and its decay. And you will be given the glorious freedom of a spiritual body, a body that can move at the speed of thought, a body that is perfect, powerful, and eternal. You are simply stepping out of a temporary tent and into your permanent, glorious home. The threshold is not a barrier of fear, it is a doorway of grace. And I myself will be there to take your hand and lead you through it. My beloved, prepare yourself for wonder that your earthly mind cannot fully comprehend. The moment you cross the threshold, you will experience the fulfillment of one of my greatest promises. Behold, I make all things new. I am not speaking of a simple repair or a minor renovation. I am not just going to heal you. I am going to completely remake you in glorious perfection. Every part of you that has been broken by the fall, by sin, by sickness, and by sorrow will be utterly and beautifully restored to a state even more glorious than its original creation. This is the promise for which your soul has longed your entire life, the deep, unspoken ache for wholeness that has driven your every pursuit. Let us speak of your senses. Your eyes, which may have grown dim and have seen so much sorrow, will be made new. They will see with a clarity you have never known, and they will behold colors that have no name on earth, light that radiates from my very being. Your ears, which may have struggled to hear and have been filled with the discordant sounds of this world, will be made new. They will hear the perfect harmony of the celestial symphony, the joyful laughter of the saints, and the gentle, loving timbre of my voice speaking your name. Your body, which has known pain, weakness, sickness, and the slow decay of age, will be made new. You will be given a glorified body, one that is immortal, powerful, and free from every trace of corruption. You will move without effort, live without weariness, and exist without pain. And the restoration goes deeper still. Your mind, which has so often been a battlefield of anxiety, doubt, fear, and confusion, will be made new. It will be unclouded, perfectly clear, and filled with my peace which passes all understanding. You will know truth not as a concept to be struggled with, but as the very air you breathe. And your heart, my child, your precious heart, which has been broken and scarred by the losses and betrayals of this life, will be made new. I will personally mend every fracture, smooth over every scar, and make it perfectly whole, capable of receiving and giving a perfect love, unhindered by fear or selfishness. Think of a priceless masterpiece that hath been damaged over time. I am not just going to patch the cracks. I am the master artist, and I will restore my masterpiece, you, to a state of brilliance and beauty that will cause all of heaven to stand in awe. Everything sad will come untrue. Everything broken will be remade. This is not just a hope, it is your imminent reality. My beloved, I want you to erase from your mind any picture you have of a sterile, silent, or lonely afterlife. Forget the images of drifting on clouds or a solemn, impersonal existence. The moment you cross the threshold is not a moment of quiet fading. It is a moment of glorious, thunderous, and joyous arrival. A great welcome has been prepared for you, a celebration that has been anticipated since before the foundations of the world were laid. The first thing you will witness is the glorious reception from the communion of saints, that great cloud of witnesses who have been cheering you on from the ramparts of heaven. You will see them, those you have loved who went before you in the faith, their faces shining and perfected, free from all sorrow and pain. You will embrace them, and it will not be a fleeting, dreamlike encounter. It will be a solid, real embrace, filled with a joy so pure and powerful it will feel like your heart might burst. And in that joy, there will be no shadow of a future parting, no bittersweet knowledge that the moment must end. It is the beginning of a fellowship that will never be broken. You will hear the cheers of the heavenly host. The angels, who have been your guardians and my messengers throughout your life, will rejoice at your safe arrival. This is not a formal or stuffy affair. It is a victory parade. It is the celebration for a soldier who has fought the good fight and has finally come home from the war. On earth, you have so often felt overlooked, misunderstood, and judged. You have felt the sting of conditional acceptance, the need to perform to be loved. Let that feeling be washed away forever. Here, in my kingdom, you are fully known, and being fully known, you are fully and wildly celebrated. No one will look at your past failures. They will only see the triumph of my grace in you. No one will remember your weaknesses. They will only see the strength I have perfected in you. This is the ultimate experience of belonging, the true homecoming for which your soul has always ached. And then, my child, you will be brought before my throne of grace. Do not picture this with fear. You will not approach cowering or ashamed. You will be presented by my Son, clothed in his righteousness, standing in the victory that he won for you. And you will look upon my face. In that moment, you will feel something your earthly heart has only ever had a faint taste of. You will feel the full, unhindered, overwhelming, and intensely personal love I have for you. It is a love that knows your name, that knows every thought you have ever had, every tear you have ever cried, and has longed for this very moment to welcome you home. It is not a generic love for all of humanity. It is a specific, detailed, and passionate love for you. This is the great welcome. It is the festival that never ends, the joy that is always new, and the beginning of our face-to-face fellowship for all of eternity. My precious child, after the great welcome, after the joyous reunions, after you have been settled into the glorious reality of your heavenly home, I will perform my most tender and final act of restoration. I myself will wipe every tear from your eyes. Think of this. This is not a delegated task. It is my promise to you, from father to child. Every tear you have ever shed on your earthly journey, tears of grief from a devastating loss, tears of pain from a sickness that racked your body, tears of frustration from a path that was too hard, tears of loneliness from a heart that felt abandoned. I have seen every one. I have collected them all. And now, I will personally and tenderly wipe away not just the tears, but the very memory of the sorrow that caused them. The ache in your heart that has been your constant companion for so long will finally and utterly dissolve in the light of my love. In my kingdom, the old order of things, the order of a fallen and broken world, has passed away. Hear this promise and let it be the anchor for your soul. There will be no more death. The fear of loss, the specter of separation that has haunted all of humanity, is vanquished forever. Because there is no more death, there is no more mourning. The heavy cloak of grief has no place here. The rituals of sorrow are unknown. Because there is no more mourning, there is no more crying. The expression of a heart broken by the pains of this life will be a forgotten language. And because there is no more crying, there is no more pain. The physical ailments, the emotional wounds, the spiritual struggles, all of it is gone, completely and eternally healed. Your entire life on earth has been a series of hellos and goodbyes. You have had to say farewell to people, to places, to seasons of your life. The ache of goodbye has been a constant, underlying rhythm to your existence. But here, in your eternal dwelling place with me, that word has no meaning. You will never, ever have to say goodbye again. Your fellowship with me and with all the saints will be unbroken, uninterrupted, and unending. Your dwelling place is with me, forever. You see, my beloved. This farewell that you are facing now is the last farewell you will ever have to endure. It is the final goodbye. After this one, there is only an eternity of hellos, an unending existence of joyful communion. This is not the end. The life you have known has simply in the long journey to the starting line. Now, the real race, the glorious life of eternal joy, truly begins. This is my promise to you. This is your everlasting beginning. You have heard the promise of a place where I will wipe away every tear, and if your heart now breaks for those still weeping in the wilderness of this world, then you have understood my own heart. This message of eternal hope is the very handkerchief I use to dry their tears, and I am calling you to send it forth. The fields are white for harvest, and this is your moment to cast the seed of my promise into souls on the brink of despair. Hear my great commission for your own life. Go and carry my hope to the ends of the earth, and know that I am with you always. For every soul your gift reaches, you are storing up for yourself treasure in that place where there are no more goodbyes. Therefore, as an act of worship for the hope you have received, sow into this eternal harvest. Give with a triumphant heart through super thanks, membership, or the sacred link below, and let us fill my Father's house together. My child, do not let this sacred moment pass you by, for the grace to transition with courage is being poured out upon you right now. I now call you to seal this word in your spirit and make your faith a public testimony. Go to the space below and declare for all the heavens to witness. I say farewell to fear and hello to my Father's promise. Let this declaration be the first step of your foot into the new land I have prepared for you. Do not hesitate, your new season awaits your amen. Amen. If you believe in me, your Heavenly Father, then like this video and leave a heartfelt amen in the comments. If you want to stay closer to me, then subscribe to this channel.